Michael's message today is urgent, and it is meant for you. If you are hearing this right now, it is not by accident. The enemy has been working silently in your home, using those closest to you to plant seeds of division, jealousy, and fear. Michael's warning is clear. Your sister is hiding something from you, and if you ignore it, the consequences may unfold before midnight. Now, do not misunderstand this message. Your sister is not your enemy. She is not evil. She is not lost forever. But Michael reveals that the devil often chooses the closest people in our lives, sisters, brothers, mothers, fathers, to become his instruments of influence. Why? Because their voices carry more weight than anyone else's. A stranger's insult may sting for a moment, but a sister's betrayal can wound for years. The enemy knows that if he can twist the heart of someone you trust, he can break you more easily than through any outside attack. This is why Michael speaks urgently. He wants you to open your eyes before it is too late. Midnight is not just about the clock. Midnight represents the moment when the unseen becomes reality, when choices solidify, when battles are either won or lost. Midnight is the spiritual tipping point, and Michael warns that your sister's silence, her hidden burden, her hidden secret, may be the very door the enemy is trying to use against your family. Have you felt it? That quiet distance that does not make sense? That heaviness when you enter the same room? That suspicion in your heart that she is carrying something, but she will not speak it? These are not random emotions. Michael says they are signs that the enemy is whispering into her ears, feeding her lies, and using her silence as a weapon. But Michael's shield is ready. His sword is drawn. He is speaking because he wants you to act. He wants you to understand that what is hidden must be revealed, because only in the light can healing and protection flow. Pause for a moment and think. How many arguments in families start with secrets? How many divisions are born from things left unsaid? The enemy thrives in silence. As long as your sister hides, he wins. But when the truth comes out, even if painful, his power is broken. Michael warns that the devil does not always need grand betrayals. Sometimes all he needs is for a sister to hide her pain, to cover her struggles, to pretend everything is fine while bitterness grows. By the time the truth comes to light, the damage has already been done. This is why he speaks urgently. Do not wait until tomorrow. Do not wait until next week. Open your eyes before midnight. If you are hearing this and your spirit is stirring, it is because this message is for you. Do not dismiss it as coincidence. Right now, declare in the comments, Michael, reveal the truth. Write it boldly, because your words become a declaration of faith. And if you are not yet subscribed, do so now. This may be the only way you continue to receive the warnings that heaven is sending. The enemy would rather you scroll away and forget this, but subscribing ensures that the light keeps reaching you. Stay with me, because what Michael reveals next will shock you. In the next part, we will uncover why the enemy specifically chooses sisters as tools, and how their hidden struggles often become the devil's open doorway. What you are about to hear may explain things you have felt in your own family for years. Do not miss it. Michael's warning grows sharper. Do not be blind to the strategies of the enemy. He is cunning and he knows where to strike. One of the greatest mysteries of spiritual warfare is why the devil so often chooses sisters, mothers, or daughters as his entry points into families. The answer is simple but chilling. It is because their influence is deep and their bond is powerful. Think about it. A sister carries weight in your life that no friend could ever replace. Her words reach places in your heart that others cannot touch. Her approval feels like validation. Her silence feels like rejection. The enemy understands this bond, and so he twists it. He whispers jealousy, fuels comparison, and plants seeds of resentment. If he can make your sister hide her true thoughts or carry secrets she cannot speak, he can fracture your trust and divide the family. Michael wants you to realize that this pattern is not new. From the very beginning of time, families have been the battlefield. In Genesis, we see brothers turned against each other, Cain striking Abel. Later, we see Joseph's brothers selling him into slavery out of jealousy. Again and again, the enemy uses siblings, turning what should have been love into rivalry, what should have been protection into betrayal. The same strategy is at work today. Your sister is not the villain, but she is under pressure, and if she hides what she carries, the enemy will use her silence as a weapon. Do you remember the last time you and your sister argued? Did it escalate faster than you expected? Did it feel bigger than the issue at hand? That is not coincidence. That is how spiritual influence operates. A small spark is turned into a wildfire. What begins as a disagreement becomes days of coldness, silence, and mistrust. By the time you realize how far it has gone, the bond has already been damaged. Michael's warning is that these cycles are not normal family drama. They are attacks, repeated patterns designed to weaken your home. But why is she hiding? What is your sister keeping from you? Michael says it may not even be something dramatic. It could be guilt, shame, unspoken pain, or even doubts she does not want to confess. The devil convinces her that speaking will cause rejection, so she buries it. But in that secrecy, darkness grows. Secrets are the soil where lies take root, and once they grow, they twist relationships until they snap. This is why Michael says, "Open before midnight." Midnight is the moment of exposure. Midnight is when hidden things either remain buried or are brought into the light. Midnight represents the spiritual deadline, the point where choices cannot be delayed any longer. If you wait until after midnight, the consequences may already be in motion. That is why the urgency is so strong. Michael's shield is available, but you must act. You must become aware. You must pray for the hidden things to be revealed. You must resist the temptation to see your sister as the enemy and instead see her as someone under attack. She is carrying something, hiding something, perhaps even without realizing how dangerous her silence has become. If you have felt this in your life, do not ignore it. Think of the times when your sister avoided you, when her eyes looked away, when her words fell short of the truth. These are not just human behaviors, they are signals. Michael is showing you that something is hidden and it must be uncovered before midnight. If you are watching this now, pause and act. Type into the comments, "Michael, reveal what is hidden." Do not keep silent. Your declaration matters. And while you are here, subscribe. This message reached you for a reason, and the next one could carry the very breakthrough your family has been waiting for. Subscribing keeps you connected to the shield of light that Michael is raising over this community. Stay with me, because in the next part we will explore the specific signs that your sister, or another loved one, may already be influenced by the enemy. These signs are often subtle, hidden in daily life, but once you see them, you will never look at your family the same way again. And recognizing them may be the key to saving your home from destruction. Do not miss what comes next. Michael speaks with urgency. The signs are there, but many refuse to see them. They explain them away as ordinary emotions, normal arguments, or phases of life. But when you ignore the signs, you allow the enemy to tighten his grip. Today, these signs must be revealed, because once you recognize them, you cannot be deceived again. The first sign is unexplained distance. Your sister was once close, open, and connected. You shared laughter, secrets, and trust. But suddenly she feels far away. She avoids conversations, keeps her heart closed, and seems unreachable. This distance may not have a clear reason, and that is the warning. Michael says the enemy often whispers lies like, "They don't care about you," or "They would never understand you." Your sister begins to believe those lies, and in silence, she drifts. That unexplained coldness is not natural. It is spiritual interference. The second sign is disproportionate anger. Families argue, yes, but when anger feels bigger than the issue, when small disagreements explode into storms, pay attention. The devil loves to magnify emotions. He pushes your sister to shout words she doesn't even mean, words that wound deeply. And afterward she may feel regret, but the damage is done. Michael warns, if you notice arguments escalating unnaturally, do not see your sister as the enemy. Recognize the dark hand stirring behind her words. The third sign is secrecy. Silence is one of the enemy's favorite tools. If your sister begins to hide her feelings, her struggles, or her choices, darkness is already at work. Demons thrive in what is hidden. They convince her that sharing would bring shame or rejection, so she hides it. But every secret builds a wall. And behind that wall, the enemy whispers louder. If you sense that she is carrying something in silence, Michael's message is clear. Do not ignore it. Pray for light to expose what has been concealed. The fourth sign is heaviness. You feel it when she enters the room, a weight, an unexplainable tension. Her presence no longer brings joy but drains your spirit. That heaviness is not her true self. It is the shadow pressing on her, hoping to press on you as well. The devil uses heaviness to break families from within. Michael warns that you must not accept this as just her mood. Heaviness is a sign of influence, and it must be resisted. The fifth sign is fading love. When warmth turns to coldness, when care turns to indifference, when love itself begins to shrink, know this: it is not natural. Families are meant to thrive in love, and when love fades, the enemy celebrates. This is one of his clearest victories. Michael says, do not accept this loss of love as permanent. Recognize it as a call to fight for your sister, to fight for your family. Now you may be asking, what do I do if I see these signs? The first step is not anger. Do not accuse. Do not attack. Remember, your sister is not the enemy. The devil is. The signs are proof that she is under pressure, that she is carrying a burden she cannot reveal. You are being called not to fight her, but to fight for her. This is why Michael reveals these things before midnight. Midnight represents the moment when hidden influence either takes root or is broken. You cannot wait passively. You must declare truth, speak light, and invite protection now. Every moment you delay, the grip grows stronger. If you recognize even one of these signs in your own life, I want you to declare it boldly. Write in the comments, Michael, protect my sister. Do it now. Your comment is not just text. It is your shield. It is a public declaration that you are aware of the signs and you refuse to remain silent. And while you are here, subscribe. This is not just about this message. It is about staying alert for the next one. If you scroll away without subscribing, you may miss the very warning your family needs tomorrow. Stay connected, because each message is a piece of your protection. Stay with me, because in the next section we will go deeper. You have seen the signs of influence, but now Michael will expose the specific tricks the enemy uses to make your sister hide things from you. These tricks are subtle, almost invisible, but they explain why so many families are being torn apart without realizing it. Once you see them, you will never be fooled again. Michael's voice grows firm. Do not underestimate the craftiness of the enemy. He is a deceiver, and deception is his sharpest weapon. He hides his claws beneath whispers and shadows, convincing your sister to keep silent while he works in the dark. The first trick the devil uses is fear of rejection. He tells your sister, if you speak, they will judge you. If you share, they will turn against you. Fear binds her tongue. She hides her struggles because she believes you would not understand. But this is the enemy's lie. He wants her to remain in isolation because isolation is his breeding ground. As long as she keeps silent, his influence grows stronger. The second trick is shame. The devil whispers, what you carry is too ugly. If they knew the truth, they would never look at you the same. And so, she hides. She puts on a mask of strength while her heart trembles inside. But Michael says shame is a chain forged in darkness. Truth breaks it, light destroys it. The enemy knows this, which is why he tells her to stay silent. Shame is not her truth, it is her prison. The third trick is distortion. The enemy twists her perception, making her see you not as an ally but as a threat. He plants thoughts like they're against you, they don't care, they're waiting for you to fail. Suddenly, your sister interprets your words through a lens of suspicion. Even your love feels like an attack. The devil thrives on these distortions because once trust is gone, division is inevitable. The fourth trick is distraction. The devil knows that silence cannot last forever, so he floods her with distractions. Endless scrolling, constant noise, activities that leave no room for quiet reflection. When she is distracted, she never pauses long enough to realize the weight she is carrying. She never considers opening up, because her mind is always consumed by something else. Michael warns distraction is not harmless. It is one of the enemy's most effective disguises. The fifth trick is comparison. The devil tells your sister, look at her, look at him, you will never be enough. He uses comparison to create jealousy, envy, and insecurity. And out of insecurity, she hides even more. She believes her worth is too small, her failures too big. She withdraws into silence, convinced that speaking would only expose her weakness. But Michael says comparison is a lie. Every soul has value, and every voice has power. The sixth trick is false strength. The enemy convinces her that silence equals courage. Don't bother them with your problems. Handle it yourself. Stay strong. It sounds noble, but it is poison. True strength is not silence. True strength is vulnerability, confession, and healing. The devil knows this, which is why he twists her sense of pride into a mask that keeps her isolated. Now pause for a moment. Do any of these tricks sound familiar? Have you noticed your sister holding back, hiding her true feelings, distracted, comparing herself, or carrying false strength? These are not just human habits. They are evidence of spiritual influence. Michael's warning is clear. If these tricks are not exposed, the enemy will tighten his hold until midnight comes, and by then the damage may be hard to undo. But here is the truth Michael wants you to hear. Exposure destroys deception. The moment you recognize the trick, its power is broken. You can look at your sister with new eyes, realizing she is not your enemy. She is a victim of whispers, and instead of fighting her, you can fight for her. If this message is stirring something in you right now, do not stay silent. Comment. Michael, break the lies. Declare it boldly because your words carry authority. And if you have not yet subscribed, now is the moment. The devil would prefer you to leave, to forget this message, to move on distracted. But subscribing ensures that you stay under the stream of truth, that every warning Michael gives continues to reach you in time. Stay with me, because in the next part, we will go even deeper. Michael will show you how to confront the hidden things in love, without anger, without judgment, but with truth and authority. What you are about to hear could be the very key to restoring what has been broken in your family. Midnight is approaching, and now is the time to act. Michael's voice is steady. Confrontation is not destruction. Confrontation in love is healing. The enemy has convinced many families that confrontation only brings division, so secrets remain hidden and silence grows. But Michael says the truth is opposite. When you confront with love, you expose the darkness, and exposure is what breaks the chains. The first step in confronting hidden things is recognizing your posture. If you approach your sister with anger, she will defend herself. If you approach with judgment, she will hide even deeper. But if you approach with love, patience, and truth, the enemy loses ground. Michael says, do not fight her. Fight for her. When your sister sees that your goal is restoration, not condemnation, the walls begin to crumble. Think about how Jesus confronted those who were hiding. He did not attack with cruelty. He revealed with compassion. When he met the woman at the well, He exposed her truth not to shame her, but to free her. When he spoke to Peter after his denial, he did not crush him with guilt. He restored him with love. This is the model Michael points you toward, a confrontation that reveals without destroying, that corrects without condemning. How do you begin? Start with prayer. Before speaking to your sister, ask Michael to go before you. Pray, Michael, soften her heart. Let my words be truth, not weapons. Let her see my love, not my judgment. When you pray this way, you shift the atmosphere before the conversation even begins. You invite light to guide your tone, your timing, and your words. Then, when the moment comes, speak with gentleness. You do not need to know the secret in detail, you only need to open the door for her to step into the light. Say something like, "I feel distance between us, and I want to understand. I love you, and I'm here for you." Whatever you're carrying, you don't have to hide it anymore. Simple words, but filled with sincerity, can break years of silence. Michael warns that you must also be patient. Your sister may not open up immediately. She may resist, deny, or grow defensive. Do not see this as failure. It is the enemy's last defense. Darkness does not give up easily. But if you remain consistent in love, the walls will eventually fall. Remember, truth is patient, and love never fails. There will also be moments when silence continues, when you feel your efforts are not working. In those times, do not despair. Continue to declare truth aloud, even if she does not respond. Say, "This family belongs to light. Darkness has no place here." Michael, reveal what is hidden. Your declarations carry weight in the unseen world, even when visible change seems slow. But here is the most important part. Do not confront to satisfy your curiosity. Confront to bring healing. The enemy loves when you approach with suspicion because then the confrontation becomes another wedge. But when you approach with love, healing becomes possible. Michael says, "Your goal is not to expose her. Your goal is to free her." Never forget this. If this part of the message is resonating with you, pause for a moment. Comment below. "Michael, help me confront with love." Write it as your declaration, because many people approach their family with anger, and it only fuels division. But love disarms the enemy, and your words can inspire someone else watching to choose love over anger as well. And if you have not subscribed yet, this is the moment. You have walked this far into the message. Do not leave the journey incomplete. Subscribing ensures that you will not miss the next step, the next warning, the next encouragement. The enemy wants you to stop here, but you must stay connected to finish this fight. Stay with me, because in the next section we will uncover the exact prayers and declarations you can use when confronting hidden things. These words are not only for you, they are for your entire family. They have been used for generations to strip darkness of its power and invite Michael's shield to cover every household. Michael's message is this: when you confront the hidden things, do not go empty-handed. Go with words of truth, because words are weapons. Every prayer, every declaration, every sentence of faith is like a sword in the unseen world. Demons flee when truth is spoken with authority. The first prayer is simple but powerful. Michael, reveal what is hidden. Speak it before entering a conversation. Whisper it when you sense distance. Declare it when you feel heaviness. These words invite Michael to uncover lies and bring light into the shadows. The devil thrives in secrecy, but secrets cannot survive when you call on Michael to reveal them. The second prayer is for protection. Shield my sister. Shield my family. Shield this home. Let no shadow speak louder than truth. This prayer is important because confronting hidden things can stir resistance. The enemy does not surrender easily. But when you declare protection over your family, you create a covering that the enemy cannot pierce. Another declaration you can use is direct and bold. This house belongs to light. No darkness may remain here. Speak this aloud in your home. Walk room to room and declare it. Even if your sister does not hear, the unseen world does. Michael fights alongside those who claim their territory. Every word you declare pushes back the enemy's grip. A prayer for your sister specifically can be, Michael, stand beside her, cut away the lies, the shame, and the fear that keep her silent. Let her see love, not judgment. Let her know she is safe. This prayer does not accuse, it protects. It speaks truth over her while fighting the lies she carries. There is also the prayer of unity. We are not enemies, we are family. No whisper will divide us. Say this to your sister if she will listen. Say it over your family, even if they cannot hear. Demons tremble when families unite because unity multiplies strength. Michael's shield is strongest where love holds firm. Do not underestimate the power of gratitude in your prayers. Thank God for your sister, even if she feels distant. Thank Him for your mother, even if she is silent. Gratitude invites peace into your heart and destroys despair. The devil cannot remain where gratitude flows, because gratitude shifts the atmosphere from heaviness to light. Michael also urges you to renounce lies directly. Say aloud, I reject the lie that my sister is my enemy. I reject the lie that silence must remain. I reject the lie that this family is broken beyond repair. Each renunciation breaks a chain. The enemy cannot hold ground where lies are rejected and truth is spoken boldly. If you practice these prayers and declarations consistently, you will begin to notice a shift. The atmosphere will lighten, conversations will open, arguments will lose their sharpness, and even if the change is not immediate, know this: every word spoken in faith builds a shield around your home. If you believe these prayers matter, I want you to act now. Comment, my family belongs to light. Do it not just for yourself, but for others who will read it and be encouraged to fight for their own families. And if you have not subscribed, now is the time. These prayers are only the beginning. More warnings, more strategies, and more revelations are coming, but only if you stay connected. Stay with me, because in the next section we will move from prayers to testimonies. Michael has shown again and again that when families pray, when sisters and mothers are defended, miracles happen. You will hear real accounts of protection, deliverance, and restoration that prove Michael's shield is not just an idea, it is a living reality. Michael's shield is not just a concept. It has been experienced by countless families, mothers, sisters, and children across the world. His protection leaves traces, moments of impossible rescue, sudden peace, and reconciliation where division once ruled. These testimonies remind us that the warnings you hear are not empty words. They are instructions that, when followed, release real power into your life. One story comes from a young man who had grown apart from his sister. For years they barely spoke. Every attempt at conversation dissolved into arguments. The silence between them felt like a canyon too wide to cross. But one night, after hearing a message about Michael's protection, he whispered a simple prayer. Michael, reveal what is hidden. Restore my sister. That very week, his sister reached out, admitting she had been carrying shame from a mistake she could not bring herself to share. In that moment, the walls broke. Healing began, not because of clever words, but because Michael had exposed the secret and replaced silence with truth. Another testimony comes from a mother living in fear. Her daughter had fallen under the influence of destructive relationships, and every attempt to help was rejected. She prayed daily, but despair grew heavier. One night she cried out, Michael, protect her, even if she pushes me away. That same week, the daughter narrowly avoided a violent situation. She later admitted that she had felt an invisible presence pulling her out of harm's way. The mother wept with gratitude, knowing her prayer had been answered, knowing Michael had intervened when her own words could not. There are also stories of physical deliverance. A family traveling on a dangerous mountain road lost control of their car on a sharp curve. The vehicle should have tumbled into the ravine below, but instead it stopped abruptly, balanced on the very edge. Witnesses said it made no sense. The father later confessed that, as the car slid, he cried, "Michael, shield us." He believed it was Michael's hand that steadied them in that impossible moment. To this day, they call that place the Angel's Curve. But Michael's intervention is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet, almost invisible, yet just as real. A woman struggling with depression described nights when she felt consumed by despair. But every time she prayed, "Michael, do not leave me," she felt a sudden peace settle over her. It did not erase her struggles overnight, but it gave her strength to endure another day. She later said, "That peace saved my life. Without it, I would not be here." Michael's presence was not a thunderclap. It was a whisper of hope that carried her through. Have you ever felt moments like these? Times when disaster was narrowly avoided, when reconciliation came unexpectedly, when peace entered at the exact moment you were breaking? These are not coincidences. Michael wants you to see them as evidence that heaven has been closer to you than you realized. The devil will tell you it was luck, but luck does not heal families. Luck does not bring peace. These are the fingerprints of protection. If you believe you have ever experienced such a moment, I want you to declare it boldly in the comments. Michael has protected me. Your testimony, even in one sentence, may remind someone else that they are not alone. And if you are still watching but not subscribed, pause now and subscribe. These stories are meant to prepare you. But if you walk away without staying connected, you may miss the very message that your family needs tomorrow. Stay with me because in the next part we will hear even more testimonies. Michael has defended families through storms, wars, and disasters. He has restored mothers, defended sisters, and shielded children. These stories are not from centuries ago. They are happening now, and they are proof that the same protection available to them is available to you before midnight strikes. Michael's presence has been witnessed not only in scripture and history, but in the lives of ordinary people today. His protection is not limited to saints, prophets, or ancient times. He defends mothers, sisters, brothers, and children who cry out for help in this very moment. These modern testimonies are proof that his shield is active, his sword is sharp, and his mission to protect families has never stopped. One account comes from a sister who lived with deep resentment toward her brother. For years, she carried bitterness, replaying old wounds until they hardened into silence. One night, after watching a message about Michael's warnings, she broke down and whispered, "Michael, take this bitterness away." That night, she dreamed of a warrior in shining armor who touched her heart with his sword. She woke with tears streaming down her face, and for the first time in years, she felt love for her brother again. The next day, she called him. Their reconciliation began with that prayer, and she credits Michael with breaking the chain of bitterness that held her captive. Another testimony comes from a mother living in a dangerous city. Violence was all around her, and fear weighed heavily on her children. She began praying nightly, "Michael, guard this home. Let no harm cross this doorway." One night, chaos erupted in the street. Gunfire, shouting, panic. But when the smoke cleared, every home on the block showed signs of damage except hers. Even her neighbors were stunned. She said, "I know who guarded this house. It was Michael. His shield stood at my door." There are also testimonies from times of war. Soldiers on the battlefield have reported seeing a figure of light standing with them in moments of despair. One man said that during an ambush, he saw a flash of brilliance that blinded the enemy long enough for his unit to escape. Later, he described the figure as a warrior in armor with wings spread wide. Others in his unit confirmed they too had felt something, though not all saw the vision. To this soldier, there was no doubt. Michael himself had stood with them. Even in everyday life, Michael's presence shows up. A young woman once shared how she had been overwhelmed with thoughts of ending her life. Alone in her room, she cried out, "If anyone is listening, save me." Moments later, her phone buzzed with a message from her sister, a message that simply said, "I love you. You are not alone." That simple text shattered her despair. She later said she believed Michael had stirred her sister's heart to send it at that exact moment. It was not chance, it was protection. Stories like these are not rare. They happen every day, but many dismiss them as coincidence. Michael's warning is this: do not call divine protection luck. Recognize the shield when it covers you and give thanks. For when you acknowledge it, you invite even greater protection. Have you experienced something like this? A narrow escape? A sudden peace? A reconciliation that seemed impossible? If so, I want you to declare it now in the comments. Michael fights for me. Let your words stand as testimony. And if you are still watching but not subscribed, this is your sign. Subscribe now. Each story you hear is another reminder, another shield of truth. Do not let the enemy silence your access to light. Stay with me, because the final section is coming. You have heard the warnings, the signs, the tricks, the prayers, and the testimonies. Now Michael's message will reach its climax, his final call. Midnight is approaching, and he says clearly, you must not ignore this. The last part will tie everything together and show you how to stand firm, resist the devil's schemes, and keep your family under Michael's protection. Michael's warning is reaching its peak. Midnight is near. Do not delay. Do not stay blind. Do not think you have more time than you do. Midnight is not just the number on a clock. Midnight is the moment when choices harden, when silence becomes costly, and when what is hidden either destroys or is destroyed. Michael is speaking to you now because he knows the enemy is pressing harder, whispering louder, and using those closest to you, your sister, your mother, your loved ones, as tools to distract and divide. You must not ignore this. The enemy's strategy is simple. Keep your family asleep. He wants your sister to remain silent, hiding her struggles. He wants you to grow frustrated until you see her as the enemy. He wants your home filled with cold distance so that love fades and bitterness grows. And he hopes you will excuse it all as just family drama. But Michael says no. This is not natural. This is spiritual. And unless you resist, the midnight hour will bring consequences you cannot undo. So what must you do? First, you must declare openly, "My family belongs to light." These words carry more power than you realize. Every declaration is a strike against the lies the devil has planted. When you claim your sister for light, you close the door that secrecy opened. When you claim your home for truth, you break the grip of deception. Michael's shield is strongest where truth is spoken boldly. Second, you must pray without hesitation. Do not wait until the conflict grows worse. Do not wait until your sister's silence becomes unbearable. Pray now. Say, "Michael, reveal what is hidden. Protect my sister. Protect my mother. Protect this family." Each prayer is a call to action. Angels move at the sound of faith. The enemy trembles when he realizes you are no longer passive, but alert. Third, you must confront in love. When the moment comes, speak gently but firmly. Ask your sister, "What are you hiding? What are you carrying?" You don't have to keep it in the dark. She may resist. She may deny. But your words of love will plant seeds that cannot be ignored. Michael says even if she does not answer immediately, the seed of truth has been planted, and in time, it will break through the soil of secrecy. Fourth, you must protect unity at all costs. The devil fears families that stand together. He knows that unity multiplies strength. One voice declaring truth is powerful. Two voices together are unstoppable. If you can gather your family, even just 2 or 3, and declare, "This house belongs to heaven, demons cannot remain," They will scatter because agreement is their downfall. And finally, you must not give up. Michael says, "The enemy is patient. He will return again and again to test your guard. But if you remain vigilant, if you remain in truth, his attacks will fail every time. Midnight may come, but you will be ready. And when the clock strikes, what was meant for harm will be turned into a testimony of deliverance." Now pause and ask yourself, will you act before midnight, or will you remain silent? Will you see your sister as the enemy, or will you fight for her? Will you let secrets stay hidden, or will you call them into the light? This is your choice, and your choice has consequences. If you are hearing this and your heart is stirred, I want you to take action right now. Type in the comments, "Michael, protect my family before midnight." Write it boldly because this is more than interaction, it is a declaration. And if you have not yet subscribed, this is your chance. Do not wait until tomorrow. The next warning, the next message, could be the very one that your family needs. Subscribing is not just about staying connected, it is about staying awake. Stay with me, because in the final part, Michael's voice will speak once more with clarity. He will deliver the last call, the closing words that you cannot ignore. This will be the moment when all the warnings, all the prayers, all the testimonies come together. Midnight is coming, and Michael's final words may be the difference between victory and loss. Michael's voice echoes one last time. This is your final call. Midnight approaches, and the choice is in your hands. You cannot say you were not warned. You cannot say you did not know. The enemy is cunning, but his strategies have been exposed. What was hidden has been revealed. Now you must decide what to do with this truth. The devil has been using your sister, your mother, your loved ones, not because they are evil, but because they are vulnerable. He twists their silence, fuels their shame, and turns their distance into division. He has tried to make you see them as enemies when they were never the enemy at all. And Michael warns, if you allow this deception to stand, you hand the enemy victory in your home. But you are not powerless. From the very beginning of this message, Michael has shown you the signs. You have seen the tricks, you have heard the prayers, you have listened to testimonies, and now you stand at the edge of midnight. This is the moment to act, not tomorrow, not later, now. Michael says, declare your home for light, speak it aloud, say it boldly, do not whisper, do not hide. When you declare, my family belongs to light, my sister belongs to light, my mother belongs to light, you slam the door the enemy has been trying to creep through. Your words are not empty, they are weapons. Every declaration is a strike, every prayer is a shield, every act of love is a blow against the shadows. Do not let fear stop you. The enemy wants you silent. He wants you scrolling past this, convincing yourself it's not urgent. But you feel it in your heart. You know this message is for you. This is why it found you today at this exact moment. Michael says, if you are listening now, you were chosen to hear this. That means you were chosen to act. So what must you do in this final hour? First, pray. Do it tonight before midnight. Call Michael's name. Ask for his shield. Ask for his sword. Ask him to reveal the secrets your sister hides and to break the chains that bind her. Pray. Michael, expose what is hidden and restore what is broken. Second, declare. Walk through your home if you must. Speak aloud. This family is protected. This home is covered by light. No demon, no shadow, no lie may remain here. Even if you are alone, your words carry weight. Remember, truth spoken in faith is a fire that darkness cannot extinguish. Third, forgive. Do not let bitterness linger. Do not allow past wounds to poison your present. The enemy loves unforgiveness because it keeps the door open, but forgiveness slams it shut. Tell your sister, I forgive you, even if she is not asked. Tell your mother, I love you, even if the words feel heavy. These acts of love are not weakness, they are victory. Finally, remain vigilant. Midnight is not a single moment on the clock. It is every moment when the enemy tests your guard. He will return, whispering again. But if you stay alert, his tricks will fail. Michael says, "Stand firm, and you will see deliverance." If you are still here, I ask you to take one last step of faith. Comment right now. Michael, protect my family before midnight. Say it not just for yourself, but for every person who will read your words and be inspired to act. Let the comments section become a wall of light, a testimony of families refusing to bow to deception. And before you leave, subscribe. This may be the most important decision you make today. Subscribing is not about numbers. It is about staying connected to light. The devil will try to distract you, to make you forget, to pull you away. But when you subscribe, you anchor yourself to a stream of truth and protection. Do not give the enemy that victory. Stay awake, stay prepared, stay covered. Michael's final words are these: do not ignore the signs. Do not remain silent. Do not delay. Midnight is near, but light is stronger than darkness. Call on me, and I will stand by your side. Your family is not alone. You are not abandoned. The battle may be fierce, but the victory is already promised. Choose light, and you will overcome. This is your moment. This is your call. Midnight is coming, but you do not need to fear it. With Michael's shield raised and his sword drawn, you can walk forward in confidence. Declare your home for light. Protect your family. And remember always, the devil may whisper, but truth speaks louder. There are battles we can see and battles we cannot. Most people imagine the devil attacking through disasters, tragedies, or obvious evil. But Archangel Michael warns us that the most dangerous attacks are the ones hidden in plain sight. They are not storms in the sky or monsters in the shadows. They are whispers in the heart, small shifts in relationships, and invisible wedges driven between the people we love the most. Michael wants you to know this. The devil does not always strike from the outside. Often, he looks for doors inside the family because family is the foundation of strength. If he can corrupt that, if he can divide that, then his work becomes easy. That is why so many attacks are aimed at sisters, mothers, brothers, fathers, the people we cannot ignore, the people closest to our hearts. Have you noticed how the deepest wounds rarely come from strangers? They come from family. A careless word from a friend may sting, but a cold silence from your own sister can break you. An insult from a stranger may be brushed away, but rejection from your own mother can scar for years. This is not an accident. The devil knows that betrayal is most powerful when it comes from the ones who should have been protectors. Think of how many families are torn apart today. Sisters who once laughed together now refuse to speak. Mothers and daughters go months, even years, without reconciling. Families split into factions, siblings carrying bitterness to the grave. Michael is warning you. These are not just personality clashes or accidents of human nature. These are targeted attacks designed to destroy unity. Your sister is not your enemy. Your mother is not your enemy. But the devil will gladly use them if you are not alert. He whispers to them in moments of weakness, fuels jealousy, magnifies small disagreements, and turns them into walls. He blinds them to their own actions until they become unknowing tools of division. And if you are not careful, you will begin to see them as the enemy instead of recognizing the true hand behind it all. This is the danger. The enemy wants you to fight the wrong battle. He wants you to believe your family is the problem, when in truth, it is his influence stirring the storm. Michael lifts his voice now to say, wake up, stop fighting one another, recognize the shadows moving behind the curtain. Have you seen this in your own life? Have you felt unexplained distance between you and your sister, or strange silence from your mother, as though something invisible is separating you? If yes, then you are already in the middle of the battle. And the first step is to recognize it. If you have ever felt this heaviness in your family, I want you to comment right now. Michael, protect my family. This is not just a comment, it is a declaration. It is your way of standing against the silence, of pulling your family back under the shield of light. And while you are here, subscribe so that you do not miss the rest of this message. This may be the very sign you needed, and the next video could carry the breakthrough your family has been waiting for. Stay with me, because in the next section, we will uncover exactly how the devil chooses family members to use as tools. Michael warns that it is often the sister, the mother, or the closest loved one who becomes the target, because through them the greatest damage can be done. The devil knows where your heart is softest, and that is where he strikes. Once you see his strategy clearly, you will never fall for it again. The devil's strategy has always been simple. He seeks the weakest link, the opening he can exploit. When he looks at families, he does not always attack the strongest member directly. Instead, he searches for the one carrying unspoken pain, the one with hidden jealousy, or the one weighed down by insecurity. It is often in these places of quiet vulnerability that his whispers gain the most ground. And more often than not, he chooses the sister, the mother, or the closest loved one because they hold the deepest influence over your heart. Michael's warning is not to blame them, but to open your eyes. Your sister may not even realize she is being influenced. A sudden coldness, a sharp word, or a burst of anger may feel like her decision, but the seed was planted by the enemy. He delights in twisting small misunderstandings until they explode into walls of silence. He knows that if he can cause you to distrust the people you should rely on, your spirit will weaken. When your sister becomes the messenger of his whispers, the wound is far more effective than any attack from outside. Think about it carefully. Have you ever noticed a pattern in your family arguments? The smallest comment sparks a fight that feels much larger than it should. Old wounds rise from nowhere, fueling anger that seems out of proportion to the moment. That is not coincidence. That is a sign of interference. The devil loves to recycle pain, to keep bringing old wounds back to the surface so that healing never takes place. He does not need to invent new strategies when the old ones work perfectly. All he has to do is remind your sister of something you once said years ago. All he has to do is whisper to your mother that you are ungrateful or distant. Suddenly, the room is filled with tension, and the family bond grows weaker. These are not just human emotions, they are targeted strikes. Michael warns us not to dismiss them as just family drama. If you do, you will never see the true enemy behind it. The most dangerous part is this. Once the devil succeeds in dividing, he hides. He steps back into the shadows, leaving you and your sister fighting each other, while forgetting that you were never enemies in the first place. This is how families are destroyed from within. This is how love turns to bitterness and unity dissolves into isolation. The devil laughs while you waste your strength on each other instead of resisting him. Michael wants you to understand the truth. Your sister is not the enemy. Your mother is not the enemy. The real battle is not flesh and blood. It is spiritual. Once you recognize this, everything changes. The next time anger rises suddenly, you will not lash back at your loved one. Instead, you will pause and say, "This is not her, this is an attack." That awareness alone begins to break the cycle. But Michael also says this: awareness is only the first step. You must also take authority. When you feel those arguments beginning to rise, speak out loud and declare, "Michael, protect this family. Demons, you have no place here." The power of words cannot be underestimated. What is declared in faith echoes in the unseen world. Darkness cannot remain where light is spoken boldly. If you are watching this right now, and you feel this message piercing your heart, I want you to take action. Type in the comments, "Protect my sister, protect my family." Do it not just as a routine, but as a statement of faith. Your comment becomes more than words on a screen. It becomes a declaration into the spiritual realm that you will not remain blind to the enemy's tricks. And while you are here, subscribe. This message is only the beginning. Michael's warnings come often, and if you are not connected, you may miss the very one that could change your life. Stay close, because in the next part, we will uncover the specific tricks the devil uses to influence your sister and loved ones. Michael warns that these tricks are subtle. They often look like ordinary emotions, normal frustrations, or harmless habits. But behind them, something much darker is at work. Once you see how he operates, you will be able to spot the attack before it succeeds. That knowledge will protect not only you, but your entire family. The devil does not storm into your life with flashing horns and fire. He rarely makes himself obvious. If he did, most people would resist immediately. Instead, he works through subtle tricks, small manipulations that seem harmless on the surface, but carry destructive power beneath. This is what Archangel Michael wants you to understand. The enemy wins not through open war, but through quiet influence. And his favorite tools are often the people closest to you. One of his most common tricks is exaggeration. He takes a small frustration and magnifies it in the heart. Your sister forgets to return a call, and suddenly the whisper comes, "She doesn't care about you. She has forgotten you. She never truly loved you." In reality, it was a small mistake, but the thought grows louder until it feels like truth. Before long, a wall forms, and what was once a close bond begins to crumble. This is the subtlety of the enemy. He does not invent new stories, he distorts the ones already written in your heart. Another trick is projection. The devil loves to plant lies in your mind about your loved ones, then make you believe those lies are your own thoughts. A sister may feel insecurity, thinking you judge her when you never thought such a thing. Or you may suddenly believe your mother resents you, when her silence was nothing more than fatigue. These projections poison relationships quietly. By the time you realize what has happened, months of distance have already formed. Michael warns us that these silent lies are among the most dangerous, because they cannot be seen until they are confronted. The enemy also thrives on timing. He knows when to whisper. He waits until you are tired, stressed, or emotionally weak, and then he strikes. An argument that might have been small during a good day becomes explosive when spoken at the wrong moment. The devil orchestrates these collisions carefully. He knows that when emotions run high, people rarely see clearly. Families break not because of one grand disaster, but because of 1,000 small moments of bad timing, fueled by invisible influence. But perhaps the most dangerous trick of all is disguise. The devil rarely shows up as evil. He often dresses his influence in something that feels good or even noble. Jealousy is disguised as care. Control is disguised as protection. Bitterness is disguised as honesty. Before long, you no longer notice the darkness creeping in because it feels normal. Michael warns us that discernment is critical here. Not every honest word spoken in anger is truly honest. Not every protective action is born from love. You must look deeper, because the disguise is often the trap. Have you seen these tricks in your own family? A sudden coldness that made no sense? A fight that grew far too big for the situation? A thought that seemed to appear out of nowhere, accusing your sister, accusing your mother, accusing your loved one of things they never said. These are not coincidences. They are fingerprints of a master manipulator who delights in turning love into conflict. But here is the good news. Once you recognize the trick, its power is broken. The moment you say, "This thought is not mine. This fight is not natural. This heaviness is not normal," you strip away the disguise. Michael's sword cuts through illusions, but only if you choose to open your eyes. The devil's whispers cannot survive in the light of awareness. If this message resonates with you, I want you to act now. Comment below, "I refuse the devil's lies." Type it boldly. Make your voice louder than the whispers in your mind. And don't forget to subscribe. This is not just another video. It is part of a journey of awakening. The algorithm may not always bring you back here, But by subscribing, you ensure that Michael's warnings and messages of protection will continue to reach you. Stay close, because in the next section, we will go even deeper. Michael will reveal not just the tricks of the enemy, but the exact signs that someone close to you may already be under influence. You need to know these signs, because they could be happening in your own sister, your own mother, or even in yourself without you realizing it. Recognizing them may be the difference between division and restoration, between despair and protection. Archangel Michael warns that the devil's greatest victories often go unnoticed, because people mistake spiritual attacks for normal human problems. They say, "That's just how she is," or "We've always argued like this," without realizing that something darker has taken root. Michael's message today is to open your eyes and recognize the signs, because once you see them, you can resist them. If you ignore them, they only grow stronger. One of the clearest signs is sudden distance. A sister who once laughed with you suddenly avoids you. A mother who once spoke openly now hides behind silence. This change often happens quietly, without a clear reason. Days pass, then weeks, and suddenly the bond feels broken. This is not always natural. The devil delights in planting invisible wedges, turning closeness into coldness. If you sense distance forming without cause, take it as a warning. Another sign is unusual anger. Of course, every family argues at times, but there are moments when the anger feels unnatural, out of proportion, even frightening. A small disagreement explodes into shouting, and you are left wondering, where did that come from? Michael wants you to know that this sudden, consuming anger is often fueled by forces unseen. Demons thrive in chaos, and when anger takes over, they feed on the division it creates. A third sign is constant misunderstanding. Words are twisted, intentions misread, and every conversation feels like a battle. You say one thing, but your sister hears another. You try to show love, but your mother interprets it as rejection. When communication breaks down repeatedly, it is often a sign that darkness is interfering. The devil knows that when families cannot understand each other, unity collapses. There is also the sign of heaviness. A spiritual weight enters the room whenever that person is near. You may love them deeply, but being around them feels exhausting, draining, as though your joy is being stolen. This heaviness is not their true nature. It is the shadow clinging to them. Michael reminds you that heaviness is never neutral. It either comes from burdens of life or from a darker source seeking to spread despair. Another important sign is secrecy. When a family member begins hiding things, emotions, struggles, habits, and avoids the light, it is often a sign that the devil has found a foothold. Darkness thrives in secrecy. What cannot be seen cannot be healed. If your sister or mother seems to be hiding something, do not only see it as personal rebellion. Recognize it as a spiritual warning. But perhaps the most heartbreaking sign is when love itself begins to fade. You feel less compassion for one another, less patience, less warmth. The bond that once felt unbreakable now feels thin, fragile, and ready to snap. This loss of love is not natural. It is one of the enemy's clearest victories. Michael's warning is strong here. Do not accept fading love as normal. Families are meant to be united by love, and when that love disappears, you must see it as a call to fight back spiritually. Now, you may be asking, what if I see these signs in my own sister, in my own mother, in myself? The first thing is not to fall into fear or blame. Remember, they are not the enemy. You are not the enemy. The devil is the one twisting hearts. Michael wants you to see these signs not to condemn, but to awaken. The moment you recognize them, you have the chance to resist, to pray, to declare truth, and to break the pattern. If you are watching this right now, and you recognize even one of these signs in your own family, I want you to do something bold. Write in the comments, "Protect my sister, protect my family." Do it as a declaration, as a sign that you refuse to remain silent while darkness tries to steal your home. And while you are here, subscribe. This channel exists to bring you Michael's warnings and guidance. If you leave now, the enemy may distract you, and you may never hear the message that could change everything. Subscribe and stay connected to light. In the next section, we will go even deeper. Michael will reveal his role as guardian over families and how he has been assigned to defend those who call on him. You will learn not only how he protects, but how you can invite his shield to cover your household. This is not just about recognizing the problem. It is about stepping into protection. Do not miss it, because the next part could be the turning point for your family. When families are under attack, it is easy to feel helpless. You see your sister drifting, your mother growing distant, arguments rising and love fading, and you wonder, what can I possibly do? Archangel Michael's message is clear. You are not powerless. For every trick of the enemy, heaven has already provided a defender. And at the front of that defense stands Michael, the warrior of light, the guardian of families. From the beginning, Michael has been described as the great protector. In Scripture, he is called the commander of heavenly armies, the one who fights for God's people. But his role is not just cosmic, not just about battles in the heavens. His shield extends over households. His presence stands at the doors of homes, and his sword cuts through the shadows that try to divide families. The devil may whisper lies into your sister's mind, but Michael is there to counter those whispers with truth. Think about the nature of family. It is where love should be strongest, where trust should be deepest, where unity should be unbreakable. That is why the enemy targets it, and that is why Michael defends it. He is not only a warrior of nations and kings. He is a guardian of kitchens and living rooms, of mothers and sisters, of brothers and fathers. Every household that calls upon him places itself under the protection of his shield. Michael's shield is unlike anything on earth. It is not made of metal or stone. It is made of light, divine truth that cannot be corrupted. When his shield surrounds your family, the lies of the enemy lose their power. Jealousy cannot grow, bitterness cannot take root, and division cannot thrive. His shield does not only block attacks, it transforms the atmosphere, bringing peace where there was conflict and clarity where there was confusion. His sword is just as powerful. It does not strike flesh and blood, but cuts through spiritual chains. When arguments repeat again and again in endless cycles, his sword severs them. When lies are whispered into the mind, his sword cuts them down. When heaviness lingers over your home, his sword drives it out. Michael's sword is truth, and truth always exposes and destroys deception. You may wonder, why would Michael care about my small family when there are so many greater battles in the world? The answer is simple. Families are the foundation of everything. Nations are built on families. Communities are shaped by families. Faith is passed down through families. If the enemy can destroy families, he can destroy everything built on them. That is why Michael defends households as fiercely as he defends heaven itself. But here is the important truth. Michael does not force his way in. He does not impose his protection. His shield covers those who ask, those who call, those who invite him. This is why prayer matters. When you declare, "Michael, protect my family," you are opening the door for him to enter. And when he enters, darkness has no choice but to retreat. Have you ever felt sudden peace in the middle of a storm? Or sensed that something dangerous was about to happen but was stopped just in time? These are often signs of Michael's presence. Families throughout history have testified of arguments suddenly dissolving, of accidents narrowly avoided, of children mysteriously protected, and many recognize afterward that it was Michael at work. He is not a distant myth, he is a present guardian. If you believe your family needs this protection, I want you to act boldly right now. Type in the comments, "Shield my family, Michael." Do it not just as text, but as a declaration. And if you are listening and have not subscribed, now is the time. This channel exists to remind you of Michael's presence, to warn you of the enemy's tricks, and to guide you into protection. If you click away without subscribing, you may never find this message again, and the warning meant for you could be lost. Stay connected, because every video is another shield of truth for your spirit. Stay with me, because in the next part, we will uncover how Michael's guardianship has been seen throughout history and even in modern times. Families, communities, and even entire nations have felt his defense. You will see that his role is not only personal but universal, and yet at the same time deeply intimate. The same Michael who fought in heaven is the same Michael who can stand in your living room today. When you hear that Michael is the guardian of families, it might feel abstract, like a story written in an old book. But Archangel Michael's protection is not a distant legend. It has been recorded in Scripture, remembered in history, and experienced by countless people even in modern times. His shield is not just symbolic. His presence has been felt in moments when nothing else could explain the deliverance that took place. In the book of Daniel, Michael is described as the great prince who stands guard over God's people. Daniel saw visions of nations in turmoil, and behind those nations were spiritual forces influencing kings and rulers. Michael was the one sent to resist them. His protection was not only over thrones and crowns, but over entire communities, shielding them from destruction. This same Michael who fought for nations is the one who defends households today. In the book of Revelation, Michael leads the heavenly armies against the dragon, casting him down from heaven. That vision was not just about the cosmic battle long ago. It reveals a truth that continues now. The dragon still seeks to destroy, to divide, to deceive, and Michael still stands ready to resist. Every time a family is spared from collapse, every time love is restored where hatred was taking root, every time peace reigns where chaos was rising, Michael's presence is near. But it is not only in Scripture. History itself carries traces of his guardianship. Stories from wars tell of soldiers shielded in impossible moments, of whole communities spared from disaster when destruction seemed certain. Pilots have spoken of seeing figures of light at their side in the sky. Families have testified of fires that should have consumed their homes but mysteriously stopped at the doorway. Again and again, people recognize that what saved them was not luck, but the hand of heaven. Even today, testimonies flood from every part of the world. A child lost, but found unharmed in a dangerous place. A car accident where passengers walk away untouched, though the vehicle is destroyed. A sudden sense of warning that makes someone turn left instead of right, only to learn later that danger was waiting on the path they avoided. Many describe these as coincidences, but those who know the truth recognize Michael's shield. Coincidences are the language heaven uses when it does not announce itself loudly. And what about the family disputes that suddenly dissolve? The arguments that feel ready to shatter relationships only for peace to descend unexpectedly? These too are signs of Michael's work. He does not only fight visible battles, he guards hearts, quiets storms, and restores bonds. His sword does not only cut demons from the skies, it cuts bitterness from the soul. His shield does not only block arrows, it blocks the invisible lies that creep into minds and turn loved ones into enemies. Michael's guardianship is both cosmic and personal. He is described as a leader of angels, yet he bends to protect a single child crying in the night. He commands legions, yet he shields the ordinary mother who prays for her family. He casts down dragons, yet he comforts the sister who feels alone in her struggle. This dual role is what makes him so unique. He is both the general of heaven's armies and the protector at your doorstep. If you are hearing this, Michael wants you to know that his guardianship is available for you right now. You do not need to wait for a priest, a prophet, or a ceremony. All you need is faith and a willing heart. Call on him. Speak his name. Ask him to defend your family. He will answer. He has answered for centuries, and he will answer for you. If you have ever felt protected in a moment when you should have been harmed, share it in the comments below. Your story may encourage someone else who is doubting. Right, Michael has protected me if you believe this message is true in your life. And do not forget to subscribe. These messages are not random. They are reminders sent in due time. If you walk away without subscribing, you may miss the very message that could save you tomorrow. Stay connected, because every video is a piece of your shield. Stay with me, because in the next part, we will shift from history to the present moment. Michael warns that demonic attacks are not only spiritual, but also manifest through modern culture, through media, technology, and the very systems we rely on daily. These influences may be subtle, but they are powerful. If you do not see them for what they will shape your family silently. But once you recognize them, you can resist them and stand firmly under Michael's protection. Michael's warning is not locked away in the pages of ancient scripture. It is alive right now, and it applies to the world we live in today. The devil has adapted his tactics for the modern age. Where he once whispered through idols or kings, now he whispers through glowing screens, endless media, and the culture surrounding us. His strategy is the same: divide, distract, and destroy. But his methods have become more subtle, more disguised, more powerful than ever. And this is what Michael wants you to see clearly. Look around and notice how families are drifting apart. A sister sits on her phone, scrolling endlessly, disconnected from the people in the same room. A mother is consumed by stress and worries fed by the constant noise of bad news. Children are shaped more by movies and music than by their parents' voices. This is not harmless entertainment. It is a battlefield. The devil knows that the fastest way to corrupt the family is not always through direct attacks, but through the constant drip of distraction. When he keeps eyes glued to screens, he steals time, silence, and connection. Another modern weapon is culture itself. Once, society valued faith, family, and unity. But slowly those values are mocked, pushed aside, and replaced by selfishness and pride. The devil does not shout loudly to announce this change. He shifts the culture inch by inch until what once shocked people becomes normal. Arguments between sisters are no longer seen as problems to heal, but as expected and unchangeable. Mothers feeling hopeless are told, "That's just life," instead of being shown where true peace comes from. The slow erosion of values is one of the enemy's sharpest tools, because few notice it happening until it's too late. Words, too, have become weapons. Social media platforms overflow with anger and division. A single comment can turn families against one another. A small post can ignite arguments that spill into real life. The devil loves this, because every word of hatred feeds him. Every misunderstanding online becomes another wedge in real homes. Michael wants you to remember that words carry spiritual weight. What is spoken cannot be easily taken back. And in the modern world, the devil has found a way to multiply words of anger faster than ever before. Relationships are another battleground. The enemy loves to twist love into jealousy, care into control, honesty into cruelty. Romantic relationships collapse because of temptations spread openly online. Friendships shatter over political opinions shouted on screens. Sisters turn cold because the enemy whispers that comparison is proof of failure. Mothers feel invisible because the world tells them their sacrifices mean nothing. These wounds are not random. They are the fruit of influence that has been spreading silently, shaping the way we see ourselves and others. Have you ever wondered why so many people feel heavy, restless, and disconnected, even when they have everything they thought they wanted? It is because darkness has succeeded in distracting them from what really matters. Instead of love, unity, and peace, people chase validation, likes, money, or power. And the more they chase, the emptier they feel. Michael warns us, this emptiness is the trap. The devil does not need you to bow to him, he only needs you to forget the truth and live blind to what is happening. But here is the good news. Awareness breaks the spell. The moment you recognize the distraction for what it is, you can resist it. When you choose to put down the phone and speak with your family, you break the cycle. When you refuse to let the culture's lies define your worth, you weaken the enemy's grip. When you choose love over argument, truth over deception, and connection over isolation, you invite Michael's shield into your home. If you have felt this in your own family, if you've seen your sister drifting into distraction or your mother drowning in heaviness, I want you to declare right now in the comments, "My family belongs to light." Write it boldly. Make it a statement not only to others, but to the unseen world. And while you're here, subscribe. Do not let this be the last time you hear Michael's warnings. The enemy wants you to forget this message as soon as you scroll away, but subscribing ensures that light continues to reach you again and again. Stay with me because in the next part we will dig even deeper. Michael will expose the secrets demons do not want mothers and sisters to know. Truths that, if revealed, strip away their influence completely. What you will hear next is not only warning, but strategy, and once you learn it, the enemy's disguises will no longer work in your life. Archangel Michael warns that the enemy hides his strategies in plain sight. The devil does not want families, especially mothers and sisters, to realize the power they already carry. Because if they knew, his influence would collapse. This is why he works so hard to keep them distracted, silenced, or filled with doubt. Today, Michael is pulling back the curtain to expose the secrets demons do not want your loved ones to know. And once you hear them, you will understand why your family has been targeted so fiercely. The first secret is that love is a weapon. Demons thrive on hatred, bitterness, and division. They cannot survive in the presence of pure love. This is why they attack families, because family love is one of the strongest forces on earth. A mother's love can shield children in ways no one else can. A sister's loyalty can restore courage in times of despair. The devil knows this, so he twists love into resentment, comparison, or jealousy. If your family knew that every act of genuine love was spiritual warfare, they would see that hugs, words of encouragement, and forgiveness are not small things. They are weapons that drive demons away. The second secret is that silence is not neutral. Many mothers and sisters remain quiet about their struggles, thinking it is strength. But silence is the enemy's hiding place. When pain is hidden, it festers. When lies are unspoken, they grow louder. Demons thrive when secrets stay in the dark. Michael's warning is clear. Speaking truth aloud is one of the most powerful ways to break chains. Confession, honest conversations, and declarations of faith strip darkness of its covering. That is why the devil pressures families to stay silent. He knows that one honest word can undo years of his work. The third secret is that authority belongs to you. The enemy wants mothers and sisters to believe they are powerless, victims of circumstances, unable to change their situation. But the truth is that spiritual authority belongs to every believer who speaks in faith. When a sister declares, "My family is protected," heaven listens. When a mother says, "This house belongs to light," demons tremble. Authority is not given only to prophets or priests, it is given to anyone who believes. Michael knows this, and the devil fears it. This is why he whispers constantly, "You can't change anything, you're too weak." Because he knows the moment you reject that lie, his hold is broken. The fourth secret is that small choices matter. The enemy loves to tell families that only big sins or major failures matter. But in truth, demons feed on small cracks. A careless word, a grudge held too long, a habit left unchecked. Sisters comparing themselves to one another may seem harmless, but it opens the door for jealousy. A mother dwelling too long on worry may seem normal, but it opens the door for despair. The enemy counts on people ignoring these small cracks until they become wide gaps. Michael wants you to know that daily choices, to forgive, to pray, to love, to stay alert, are the true battlefield. The fifth secret is that demons are afraid of unity. When families pray together, declare truth together, or stand in love together, darkness cannot remain. This is why arguments and divisions are constant. The enemy fears what would happen if mothers, sisters, and entire families stood united. Unity multiplies strength. One prayer is powerful, but when spoken in agreement by many, it becomes unstoppable. Michael urges you to protect unity fiercely. Do not allow small disagreements to fester into permanent wounds. Unity is light's greatest shield. Now think about this. How many of these secrets has the enemy been hiding from your family? Has love been twisted into resentment? Has silence kept pain unspoken? Has your authority been stolen by lies? Have small cracks gone unchecked? Has unity been broken? If so, you now see why your home has felt under siege. It was never random. It was a strategy. But now, the strategy has been exposed. If this is opening your eyes, I want you to do something bold. Type in the comments right now. My family chooses light. Say it not just as a viewer, but as a declaration. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. These secrets were hidden from you for a reason, and without reminders like this, the enemy will try to make you forget them again. Subscribe so that truth keeps finding you. Stay with me, because in the next part, we will step into action. You now know the secrets. But how do you fight back? Michael will reveal prayers and declarations that protect families, words that have been used for centuries to drive demons away and invite heaven's shield. This is where warning turns into warfare, and where your household can find lasting protection. Now that Michael has exposed the enemy's secrets, it is time to fight back. Awareness without action is not enough. The devil is relentless, and if you only watch but do not resist, his whispers will continue. Michael's shield is available. His sword is ready. But you must invite his protection into your home. And the way to do this is through prayer and declaration. Prayer is not just words spoken into the air. It is a weapon. When you pray with faith, your voice carries into the unseen world. Demons cannot ignore it. Angels respond to it. Heaven moves because of it. This is why the devil tries so hard to keep families from praying. He distracts them with busyness, silences them with fear, and convinces them that prayer is powerless. But Michael's message is clear. Prayer is the first line of defense. If you want your family shielded, begin with this simple prayer. Michael, protect this home. Guard my sister. Guard my mother. Guard my family from every shadow. Let no demon find a place here. Surround us with light. These words, spoken sincerely, invite Michael's presence. You do not need complicated rituals. You need faith. Even a short prayer can bring heaven's defense into your home, but prayer grows even stronger when it becomes declaration. Declarations are not requests. They are commands spoken in authority. When you say, "This home belongs to light. No demon may cross this threshold. My family is protected," you are not begging for protection, you are enforcing it. Michael fights alongside those who declare truth boldly, because truth destroys lies. Demons cannot resist words spoken in authority. There are also prayers of unity. When families pray together, their voices multiply in power. Gather your family, even if it is just two of you, and speak. We declare this house is safe. We declare love will not be broken. We declare fear has no place here. The unity itself becomes a shield. Demons fear agreement, because agreement strengthens faith. If you cannot gather your family physically, pray for them wherever you are. Michael's shield covers across distance, because spiritual warfare knows no walls. Another powerful prayer is one of release. Say aloud, "I release anger, I release bitterness, I release jealousy. Darkness will not use these against me." Every release is a chain broken. Demons thrive on wounds left unhealed, but when you release them, the door closes. Michael's sword cuts strongest where forgiveness is spoken. This is why families that forgive each other quickly remain stronger than those who hold grudges for years. And do not forget prayers of thanksgiving. Gratitude is one of the most underestimated weapons in spiritual warfare. When you thank God for your family, for protection, for blessings, you shift the atmosphere. Demons thrive in despair, but they cannot breathe in gratitude. Say, "Thank you for my sister, thank you for my mother, thank you for this home." Gratitude invites light, and light is what Michael uses to drive away shadows. If you are listening right now, I encourage you to act immediately. Speak one of these prayers today, even before you finish this video, and then declare your faith boldly in the comments. My family is protected. Let those words stand as a testimony. Others will see it, and they will be encouraged to declare the same for their own families. And while you are here, subscribe. This is not just another video. It is a movement of light. Each subscription is another voice added to this community of faith. Another shield raised against the enemy. Stay with me, because in the next part we will go deeper into these prayers and declarations. I will show you specific words, repeated for centuries, that have brought protection and peace to families under attack. These are not just traditions, they are proven weapons. If you want to see how generations before us called on Michael's help, you cannot miss what comes next. Archangel Michael reminds us that prayer is powerful, but prayer joined with action becomes unstoppable. For centuries, families have not only prayed, but also practiced rituals and used symbols of light to guard their homes. These are not superstitions. They are reminders of truth, anchors of faith, and visible signs that darkness cannot ignore. Demons thrive in secrecy and chaos, but they retreat when confronted by words, symbols, and faith working together. What matters is your heart and your authority. You can simply declare, "Michael, defend my sister. Michael, shield my mother. Michael, stand at the doorway of my home." These words, spoken sincerely, are just as powerful. Angels do not respond to poetry or fancy speech. They respond to faith. The devil knows this, which is why he tries to convince you that your prayers are too weak. Michael wants you to know that even the smallest prayer, when spoken in belief, is strong enough to send demons fleeing. Symbols of light are also important. A cross on the wall is not just decoration. It is a reminder to every spirit that this home belongs to heaven. Lighting a candle during prayer is not just ritual. It is a declaration that light is present, that darkness has no place here. Placing sacred words in your home, such as scripture, or a declaration like, "This house is protected," serves as a spiritual darker. Demons fear homes filled with visible reminders of truth because they know the people inside are aware and vigilant. Families can also use rituals of unity. Set a week when everyone gathers, even for a few minutes. Begin by saying, "This family is united. This will divide us." Each person speaks or protection. Ritual may seem creates an atmosphere cannot pass as strongest wasn't. So rituals of walk, room, and filled with light remain here. Open window and a candle of these action demons on, but they remind you that you are sting itself. And Michael responds, strengthening you. Another power renunciation. It will not, or my family. Enemy has used the unspoken on challenge, but when you read his grip, this is his family's. Keeps door declaration. Listening now today. One prayer, practice it. Wait until verse before the storm. And now, comments. Home is filled with do it so other inspired families are here. Do not build. New message is an all of protect it. So that as you buy with me, because we will mirrors and living testimony. You will hear saved, stored, and led through men. Testimonies are proof discovery. It is, and they may be your faith. Michael's reader is not talk about something experience danger and division. Families have being shielded or in ways. Testimonies are reminders and says that he continues. Those who call comes from in the middle of daughter had grown years. They're trained by men and unspoken norm. It's filled the rest. After her knees, Michael family inviting us. Her mother room in tears, apologized, spoken in anger. It was as though he had lifted over, but admitted that they peace during a presence, reconciliation, beginning of healer family believed it was vengeance. Testimony comes from home late at night in the car. As they approach, he urgent put stop, green, tated, and in the sped Mrs. kept driving have been deadly. I know something. I'm standing in stories like this and again. Moments struck, hands into. There are ways of protection. Disaster. Soldiers have a gear of light. And fear was distress or fire. Own were spared, while everything around them burned. Survivors often describe feeling a shield, a barrier, something invisible yet undeniable. They say, it made no sense, except that heaven was with us. Michael has long been known as the commander of heavenly armies, and many believe it is his shield that stands in such moments. But his protection is not always about physical safety. Sometimes it is about guarding the heart. A young woman once shared how she was battling depression, feeling isolated and attacked by voices of despair. One night she dreamed of a warrior clothed in light, standing beside her, cutting away dark shadows that pressed around her bed. She woke with a peace she had not felt in years. That night became the turning point in her healing. She later said, "I didn't know it at the time, but I believe it was Michael reminding me I was not alone." Have you ever felt moments like these in your own life? Times when danger was avoided, when peace came suddenly, when reconciliation happened against all odds? These are not accidents. They are signs that Michael is near. The devil wants you to believe these are coincidences, but Michael wants you to see them as proof that heaven is fighting for you. If you believe you have experienced protection in your life, I want you to declare it boldly in the comments. Michael has defended me. Share your story if you can, because your words may encourage someone else who is doubting right now. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Don't wait for another close call before you surround yourself with truth and reminders of protection. Stay connected, because this channel is part of your shield. Stay with me, because in the next part, we will hear even more testimonies. Stories of entire families saved, of mothers and sisters restored, of households transformed by Michael's presence. These real accounts will not only inspire you, but also show you what is possible for your own family if you remain vigilant and faithful. There are countless stories that prove Michael's shield is not limited by time, place, or circumstance. His protection shows up in homes, on battlefields, on highways, and even in the quietest corners of despair. These testimonies matter because they remind us that what we are talking about is not theory. It is living truth. The same Michael who fought in heaven still fights for ordinary families today. One testimony comes from a family torn apart by addiction. A sister had fallen into destructive habits, drifting far from her family, her health, and her faith. Arguments with her brother became constant, filled with anger and hopelessness. One night, in desperation, the brother prayed aloud, "Michael, fight for my sister. She doesn't see the chains, but I know you can break them." Over the following weeks, the sister described feeling a strange heaviness lift. She found the courage to seek help, and slowly her life began to change. Later, she admitted she had dreamed of a man in armor who told her, "You are not alone." Her family believed it was Michael, answering their prayer and pulling her back from the brink. Another story comes from a mother who had been tormented by recurring nightmares. Each night she dreamed of shadows surrounding her children, leaving her restless and terrified. One night she whispered a prayer, "Michael, stand by my children's bed. Guard them while they sleep." That night the nightmares stopped. For the first time in months she rested in peace. The dreams never returned, and she felt a calm presence whenever she prayed before bedtime. She later told others, "I know Michael was watching. I felt the fear leave." There are also testimonies of physical rescue. A family traveling during a storm described their car sliding across a flooded road. Just as it seemed certain they would be swept away, the car came to a sudden stop, as though an unseen force had anchored it in place. The father later said, "There was nothing on that road that could have saved us. Something held us steady. I believe it was Michael's hand." Stories like these remind us that protection does not always make sense in human terms, but heaven is not bound by human limits. Even more powerful are the stories of reconciliation. Two sisters, once inseparable, had not spoken for years after a bitter conflict. Each believed the other was to blame, and bitterness grew like a wall between them. Then one of them stumbled across a message about Michael's role as a protector of families. That night she prayed, "Michael, if you are real, bring my sister back." Days later, unexpectedly, her sister reached out with a message of forgiveness. The two began to rebuild their relationship. They both said they felt as though an unseen hand had broken the silence that kept them apart. They knew it was Michael who had brought restoration. Michael's intervention does not always look like a miracle in the skies. Sometimes it is the quiet push that keeps you safe, the sudden peace in a storm, the reconciliation that seemed impossible, or the courage to take one more step when despair told you to give up. His presence is not about spectacle, it is about protection. He works in ways both seen and unseen, because his mission is not to impress, but to guard. If you are hearing these stories and you feel a stirring in your heart, it may be because Michael is already near you. Perhaps he has already defended you in ways you did not recognize. Perhaps he has already shielded your family when you thought it was coincidence. I encourage you now. Comment, "Michael fights for me." Say it boldly, because your declaration aligns you with truth. And if you have not subscribed yet, now is the time. These stories are not here to entertain you. They are here to awaken you. Subscribing ensures that the next warning, the next encouragement, the next shield of truth finds you. Stay with me, because we are approaching the final call. You have seen the strategies of the enemy, the signs of his influence, the power of prayer, and the testimonies of Michael's intervention. In the last part, we will bring everything together. Michael's warning is urgent. You cannot ignore this message. The devil is still trying to use sisters, mothers, and loved ones against you. But you are not helpless. The final section will show you how to stand firm, how to declare your protection, and how to walk forward without fear. Do not miss the conclusion, because it could be the turning point for your life and your family. You have now heard Michael's attack, but only if you choose to stand under it. Right now, you have a choice. You can treat this as another story, another video, something to forget tomorrow. Or you can recognize that this was meant for you, today, in this very moment. Michael is speaking to you through this message. He is warning you not to ignore the signs, not to dismiss the battles in your family as coincidence. He is calling you to act, to pray, to declare, and to invite His protection into your home. If you feel that stirring inside your heart, don't let it fade. Act on it right now. Type in the comments, "Michael, protect my family." Make it your public declaration of faith. Let your words be the shield that covers your household, and while you are here, subscribe. Not just as a click, but as a choice. A choice to stay connected to light, to truth, to protection. The algorithm may not always bring you back here, but subscribing ensures that Michael's warnings and guidance will keep reaching you. This is Michael's final call. Do not ignore the signs. Do not let the devil use your sister, your mother, or your loved ones as tools against you. See the true enemy behind the arguments, the silence, and the heaviness, and then resist him. Stand firm. Call on Michael's shield. Declare your authority. Speak truth into your home. Because when you do, the devil cannot win. You are not powerless. You are not alone. The greatest warrior of heaven is already fighting for you. But you must choose to invite him. Stop scrolling. Archangel Michael has a message for you. A warning that is far too important to ignore. The forces of darkness are rising and many don't even realize they are under attack. But tonight, that changes. Tonight, Michael's voice breaks through the noise to remind you that you are not defenseless. We live in an age of confusion. Technology, media, and constant noise distract us from what's really happening in the unseen world. But the truth is, spiritual warfare is not a metaphor. It's not just a story from an old book. It is happening now, in our homes, in our dreams, and even in our thoughts. For centuries, Archangel Michael has been known as the commander of the heavenly armies. He is the great protector, the angel who fights not with fear, but with divine authority. When darkness rises, it is Michael who stands at the gates, holding back the tide of evil. But here's the shocking truth. Michael's warning is not just for prophets, priests, or ancient kings. It's for you, right now. Michael's warning is simple. The enemy works quietly. Demonic influence rarely shows itself in grand displays of horror. Instead, it slips into your life like smoke. A thought that whispers, "You're not good enough." A habit that chains you without you even realizing. A dream that leaves you drained in the morning, though you can't remember why. This is how the enemy works. Not with flashing horns and fire, but with subtle lies, distractions, and fears. And Michael's message is urgent. Pay attention to the signs. Think of it like this. Every day you are standing on a battlefield you cannot see. On one side, angels of light whisper courage, peace, and clarity. On the other side, demons whisper doubt, fear, and despair. Most people go about their day unaware of this invisible tug-of-war. But if you've been feeling unusual heaviness, confusion, or sudden anger without explanation, chances are you're standing right in the middle of the fight. Michael's warning is not meant to scare you. It is meant to wake you up, because once you see the battlefield, you can choose your side. Why do so many people fail to recognize this? Because modern life has trained us to dismiss the spiritual. Everything is explained away. Depression is just stress. Nightmares are just the brain processing. Sudden fear is just hormones. But deep inside, you know when something is more than that. You know when a shadow has crossed your spirit. And Michael is reminding you that not every darkness is natural. Some are attacks. Archangel Michael is not passive. He does not sit silently watching as darkness invades your life. Scripture describes him as a warrior, a mighty general of light. Revelation 12:7 says, "Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back." This is not mythology. This is a reflection of the ongoing battle of good and evil that continues to this very day. When you call upon Michael, you are not calling on a myth. You are inviting the leader of the heavenly armies to stand at your side. His sword is not a weapon of violence, but a weapon of truth. His shield is not of steel, but of light. Where he stands, lies cannot remain. Where he enters, fear must flee. His presence is the reminder that you are never truly alone in this fight. If you are watching this, I believe you are not here by accident. The spiritual world works in mysterious ways, and messages often arrive when they are most needed. Maybe you have been struggling with unusual fear. Maybe relationships have been breaking down. Maybe you've felt an invisible weight pressing on you. This message is your sign. Michael is warning you, pay attention, because you are being targeted. But here's the truth you need to hold tightly. Being targeted does not mean you are defeated. In fact, the very reason you are attacked may be because of the light within you. Demons do not waste energy on those who are already lost. They strike at those who carry potential, those who are awakening, those who are stepping closer to their destiny. Michael's warning is not a message of despair. It is a reminder that you matter enough to be fought over. And if you matter enough to be attacked, you also matter enough to be protected. Michael's shield is greater than any shadow that rises against you. But you must be awake to see it, and you must be willing to stand beneath it. Do not ignore the whispers in your spirit. Do not dismiss the heaviness in your soul. Recognize it for what it is, a sign that you are in a battle, and a call to stand on the side of light. This is just the beginning. In the next part, we will uncover how demonic influence hides in daily life, and how to recognize when it is trying to creep into your home, your mind, and your heart. Stay with me, because what comes next could be the knowledge that saves you. Everywhere we look, the world is shifting. People are more connected than ever through technology, yet more isolated in their hearts. Information flows at lightning speed, yet truth is harder and harder to find. Entertainment fills every second of our lives, yet peace is strangely absent. This is no coincidence. It is the environment in which dark forces thrive. Demonic influence does not simply appear in obvious forms. It adapts to the culture, hides in trends, and disguises itself as something harmless. Michael's warning for our generation is this: the rise of darkness is subtle, but it is real, and it is accelerating. Look around at modern society. Addiction has become normalized. Addiction to screens, to substances, to desires that never satisfy. Families are breaking apart at alarming rates. Anxiety and depression are now everyday struggles for millions. Many people dismiss these things as social issues or as problems of the mind. But from a spiritual perspective, they are more than that. They are evidence of a deeper battle, a slow invasion of shadows into everyday life. Michael warns us not to ignore these signs, because when darkness is normalized, we stop recognizing it for what it really is: an attack. Think about how temptation works. Rarely does it show up with a horned figure asking you to choose evil. Instead, it comes as a whisper. Just this once. No one will know. Everyone else is doing it. You deserve this. That whisper, repeated day after day, becomes a chain. The enemy does not need to strike loudly. He only needs to erode slowly. And before long, lives are broken, relationships shattered, and faith abandoned. Michael's warning is clear. The enemy is patient, and that is what makes him dangerous. But it's not just individual lives at stake. Entire cultures can fall under demonic influence. Look at history. Great civilizations have risen with strength, only to collapse when corruption, violence, and immorality took root. From the fall of ancient empires to modern societies drowning in chaos, the pattern is always the same. When people drift from light, darkness fills the vacuum. Michael stands as the eternal reminder that no empire of darkness lasts forever, but the cost of ignoring the signs is always high. Today, demonic influence often hides in plain sight. In entertainment, music, and media, symbols of darkness are glamorized. Witchcraft, demons, and occult imagery are presented as harmless fantasy. Young people absorb these images without even realizing the seeds being planted in their minds. The more familiar darkness feels, the less threatening it appears. And once the fear of evil is gone, its doorway swings wide open. Michael's warning is urgent. Be careful what you let into your heart through your eyes and ears. It's not just media. Look at how hatred spreads online. Social platforms become battlegrounds of anger, division, and lies. Words become weapons, friendships break, and nations divide. This is no accident. Demonic influence thrives on division. Where there is unity, healing is possible. Where there is division, destruction follows. Michael's sword does not cut flesh, but it does cut through lies. And one of the greatest lies of this age is that we are enemies with one another, when in truth, the real enemy is the darkness feeding that division. Another subtle sign of demonic rise is the distortion of truth itself. We live in what some call a post-truth era. What was once right is now mocked. What was once wrong is now celebrated. Confusion spreads, and people no longer know what to believe. This is not random. The enemy's strategy has always been the same: sow doubt, twist truth, and blind eyes. It began in the garden with a simple question: did God really say? And it continues today in every headline, every debate, every confusion of values. Michael's message echoes: guard the truth, for when truth is lost, the battle is already half lost. But do not mistake this warning for hopelessness. Michael's presence is not just to alarm, but to equip. For every rise of darkness, there is always a greater rise of light. Demons are increasing their influence, yes, but angels are also at work. You are not abandoned. You are not defenseless. The rise of demonic power is real, but so is the shield of Michael, and it is stronger. The first step is awareness. That is why this warning comes to you today. Because when you can see the enemy, you can resist the enemy. So how do you recognize the influence of demons in your daily life? Begin with attention. Ask yourself, what thoughts dominate my mind? Are they thoughts of peace, hope, and courage? Or are they filled with fear, anger, and despair? What voices am I listening to each day? Are they voices that lead me to truth and love, or voices that lead me deeper into division and emptiness? Michael's warning is not about paranoia, but about clarity. The more clearly you see the patterns, the more power you have to break free from them. The rise of demonic influence is not a story to scare children. It is the backdrop of our world. It is why so many feel empty, even when surrounded by abundance. It is why conflict spreads even in times of peace. It is why so many walk with heavy hearts and don't even know why. And this is why Michael's warning is urgent. He calls you not to fear, but to wake up. Because if you remain asleep, the shadows will creep closer. But if you awaken, if you call upon him, the darkness cannot hold you. This is where the journey truly begins. In the next part, we will go deeper into the specific signs that demons may already be near you. Signs that many dismiss as coincidence, but which Michael wants you to recognize as spiritual attacks. Stay with me, because understanding these signs could be the key to breaking chains you didn't even know you carried. Archangel Michael's warning is not meant to frighten you, but to awaken you. If you truly want to understand what he is saying, you must first learn to recognize the signs of demonic presence. These forces rarely reveal themselves in dramatic displays. They do not always come with horns, fire, or red eyes. More often, they slip into your life unnoticed, disguised in the ordinary, hidden in the background of your daily experiences. And yet, once you begin to see the signs clearly, you will realize that they were always there. The first sign that darkness may be near you is an unexplained heaviness. Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly felt as if the air itself grew heavier? Nothing happened, no one said anything cruel, and there was no visible reason for your heart to sink. Yet you felt drained, weighed down, as if something unseen was pressing on your chest. This heaviness is not natural. It is spiritual oppression. Michael warns us that when we experience this kind of sudden shift without explanation, we must not dismiss it. It is a sign of an unseen battle taking place around us. Another sign appears in the quiet hours of the night, through disturbing dreams or recurring nightmares. While many dreams are simple reflections of our minds, there are others that carry a darker weight. These dreams leave you waking up exhausted, restless, and afraid. They are designed not only to rob you of sleep, but to plant seeds of fear deep into your spirit. Michael reminds us that these are not to be dismissed as just bad dreams. They are often spiritual attacks meant to weaken you when you are most vulnerable. Demons also reveal themselves through sudden bursts of anger and conflict. Have you ever noticed how small disagreements suddenly explode into shouting matches? Or how relationships that should be filled with love are constantly torn apart by pointless fights? This is not coincidence. Darkness thrives on division. It feeds on broken homes, fractured friendships, and communities consumed by hostility. When anger seems to rise out of nowhere, it is often a sign that something deeper is at work, a hidden hand stirring the flames. Perhaps the most dangerous sign is the voice of doubt and fear that whispers into the mind. These whispers are subtle, yet powerful. They repeat over and over. You are not good enough. You will never succeed. No one truly cares about you. The more you listen, the more those words take root, until they feel like your own thoughts. But they are not yours. They are lies planted by the enemy, designed to weaken your resolve and silence your courage. Michael's warning is clear. When these voices do not lead you to peace, truth, or love, they do not come from light. Addiction is another chain forged by darkness. It does not always appear as obvious sin. Sometimes it is disguised as simple habit. Whether it is a substance, a destructive desire, or even endless distraction, addiction is a prison. Many people struggle to break free only to find themselves pulled back again and again. This is not because they are weak. It is because darkness creates strongholds that grow tighter the longer they are ignored. Michael reminds us that these chains are not harmless, they are shackles, and the longer you allow them to remain, the more they control your life. Confusion is another tactic of the enemy. Have you ever experienced a fog in your mind, where decisions that should be simple suddenly feel impossible, where your thoughts are scattered and clarity seems out of reach? This confusion is not always natural. Demons thrive in it, because when you are distracted and uncertain, you are unable to act. Michael carries the sword of truth, and truth always brings clarity. If confusion lingers without reason, it may be a sign that darkness is trying to cloud your vision. Fear is perhaps the sharpest weapon used against us. While natural fear protects us from danger, unnatural fear arrives without cause. It grips your heart, steals your peace, and convinces you that something terrible is coming, even when nothing is wrong. This fear is not from light. It is a tool of the enemy used to control and weaken. Michael's shield exists to remind you that fear is a liar and that faith always outshines panic. Each of these signs, when looked at separately, may seem insignificant. A bad dream, a small fight, a heavy mood. But when they repeat, when they build patterns, they reveal the presence of something deeper. This is why Michael's warning is so vital. Too many people live blind to these signs, dismissing them as coincidences, while darkness quietly takes root in their lives. But when you begin to see them for what they truly are, you gain the power to resist. Awareness is always the first step in spiritual warfare. You cannot fight what you cannot see, but once you open your eyes, once you begin to name the attacks for what they are, you rob the enemy of his disguise. Michael's message is not just that demons are near, but that you must no longer live unaware of their presence. Recognizing their influence is the first act of resistance, and when you resist, they lose their power. This is why you are hearing this message now. It is not to fill your heart with fear, but to prepare you with vision. You are not defenseless, you are not abandoned. You are surrounded by angels, and the greatest warrior of them all stands ready to protect you. Michael has cast down darkness before, and he will do it again. But you must first open your eyes to the reality of the fight. And so, as we move forward, remember this truth. You are not weak for feeling the weight of these signs. You are strong for recognizing them. Darkness only thrives in shadows. Once exposed to the light, it begins to fade. In the next part, we will look more closely at Michael himself, the role he plays as protector, and how his presence can stand between you and every shadow that rises against you. Archangel Michael is not a distant figure from ancient texts or old traditions. He is alive, present, and active in the battles of today. When Scripture calls him the commander of the heavenly armies, it is not describing a legend or a myth, but a living reality. Michael's role has always been to protect, to fight for truth, and to defend those who stand against darkness. And his warning today is not meant to leave you trembling in fear, but to remind you that you have a mighty protector at your side. Michael's very name means "who is like God." It is not just a title, but a declaration of his mission. His loyalty is complete, his authority divinely given, and his strength unmatched among angels. When he moves, the armies of heaven move with him. When he stands, shadows flee. Throughout history, from the visions of Daniel to the revelations of John, Michael is shown as a warrior of light, unyielding in his defense of the faithful. And his work has never stopped. The same angel who fought in heaven continues to fight in the unseen realms today. When Michael protects, his shield is not made of metal, but of light. This light is truth, and truth has the power to cut through every lie that demons whisper. His sword is not forged of steel, but of divine authority. It breaks chains, cuts through confusion, and destroys the illusions of the enemy. His presence does not just guard your body, but your mind, your heart, and your soul. Wherever Michael is invited, clarity and courage begin to rise. This is why countless prayers throughout the centuries have invoked his name. People understood that when Michael fights, victory follows. But Michael's protection is not forced upon anyone. He does not invade uninvited. He responds to faith, to prayer, and to the call of those who seek light. When you choose to stand in truth, when you call on heaven for help, Michael is sent as a defender. Too often people believe they must face their battles alone, but Michael's role reminds us that we are never left without help. The war may rage around you, but you are not fighting unarmed. Michael's protection is also unique because it does not always appear the way you expect. Sometimes it is the quiet strength that rises in your heart when fear tries to consume you. Sometimes it is the sudden peace that settles during a storm of confusion. Other times it is the breaking of chains you thought could never be broken. His work is not always seen with the eye, but it is always felt in the spirit. When you look back at moments when you should have fallen, yet somehow stood firm, you may realize that Michael was already there, fighting on your behalf. One of the most powerful truths about Michael is that he is not just fighting in heaven, he is fighting here. The book of Revelation describes him casting the dragon from heaven, but that same battle continues on earth. Demons still seek to destroy, deceive, and enslave. But Michael still commands legions of angels to resist them. When you pray for protection, you are not praying into silence. You are calling upon an active warrior, one who is already watching, already guarding, and already standing at the threshold of your life. It is important to understand that Michael's protection is not a promise that life will always be free of trials. Battles will still come, storms will still rise, and shadows will still try to press in. But the presence of Michael ensures that you are never alone in those battles. His protection means that the attacks of darkness will never have the final word. His shield stands as a barrier, his sword as a defense, his light as a flame that the enemy cannot extinguish. When you begin to recognize his role, your perspective on life changes. You stop seeing yourself as weak and defenseless, and instead recognize that you are part of a larger war, one in which victory has already been written. Michael's presence in your life is proof that you are not abandoned, that you are not left helpless, and that heaven itself is invested in your survival and your destiny. This is why Michael's warning carries both urgency and hope. He reminds you that demons are real, that their attacks are subtle, and that you must be vigilant. But he also reminds you that protection is already here. You do not need to fear what lurks in shadows, because light is greater than darkness. The very fact that you are listening to this message is a sign that Michael is reaching out, reminding you to lift your eyes, strengthen your spirit, and stand under his shield. When you invite Michael into your battles, something changes in the atmosphere around you. The weight of oppression begins to lift. The voices of fear grow quieter. The confusion in your mind begins to clear. It is not because you suddenly became stronger on your own, but because the greatest warrior of heaven is standing with you. His presence does not remove every challenge, but it transforms how you walk through them. You walk not as one hunted by darkness, but as one guarded by light. And so, Michael's role as protector is not just ancient history. It is a present reality, one you can experience every day. You may not see the sword, but you will feel its power when lies are cut away. You may not see the shield, but you will know its strength when fear cannot break you. You may not see the armies he commands, but you will sense their presence when you find peace in the middle of chaos. His protection is not a story, it is your inheritance. As we move forward, hold this truth close. Michael does not warn you of demons to leave you trembling. He warns you so that you may prepare, and so that you may recognize the help that already surrounds you. In the next part, we will explore how spiritual warfare has shaped history and Scripture, revealing the battles that have already been fought and the victories already won. Through them, you will see that Michael's fight is not just a promise for tomorrow, but a reality that has been unfolding since the beginning of time. The story of spiritual warfare is not new. It stretches back across the ages, appearing in sacred texts, ancient traditions, and the testimonies of countless people throughout history. Archangel Michael's warning today is part of a message that has echoed for thousands of years, reminding humanity that we are not only flesh and blood, but spiritual beings caught in a greater battle between light and darkness. To ignore this is to walk blind, but to recognize it is to step into the same truth that prophets, visionaries, and saints have carried through the centuries. The first glimpses of Michael appear in the Hebrew Scriptures, where he is described as a mighty prince who stands for the people of God. In the book of Daniel, Michael is presented as one who intervenes in times of great spiritual conflict. Daniel speaks of visions where nations and kingdoms are influenced by unseen spiritual rulers. And in the middle of that invisible war, Michael rises as a defender. His role was not political, but spiritual. He fought not with armies of men, but with the authority of heaven, standing against forces too great for humans to see. Centuries later, in the book of Revelation, John speaks of a vision where war breaks out in heaven itself. Michael and his angels fight against the dragon and its angels, casting them down from the heights. This image is both cosmic and personal. It reveals a battle of unimaginable scale, but also one that reflects the struggles we face in our own lives. The same forces that once rebelled in heaven still seek to sow destruction on earth, and the same Michael who cast them down still fights for us now. Revelation is not merely a prophecy of the end, but a reminder that this war is ongoing, and that the outcome has already been secured by light. When we look at history, we see this battle reflected in the rise and fall of civilizations. Time and again, nations have risen in strength, only to fall when corruption, violence, and immorality overtook them. Behind these collapses were not just human mistakes, but spiritual influences that led entire peoples astray. Darkness has always worked in patterns, tempting societies with power, greed, and deception until their foundations crumble. And yet, history also shows that renewal always comes. When people return to truth, when they seek light, the influence of darkness fades and restoration begins. Michael's role in these cycles is constant, the warrior of heaven who resists the spread of shadows, guiding those who will listen back to strength. Even beyond Scripture, countless testimonies across cultures speak of battles with unseen forces. Ancient traditions tell of warriors who called on heavenly protectors in times of great trial. Folklore across continents describes battles with spirits, demons, and forces that could not be explained by human reason. Though the names may change, angels in one culture, guardians or protectors in another, the story remains the same. There is always a battle between light and dark, and there are always beings who stand as defenders of humanity. Archangel Michael is the clearest expression of that truth, and his presence confirms what humanity has sensed for generations. Spiritual warfare also runs through the stories of individuals. Saints, prophets, and visionaries often described being tormented by dark forces, only to find relief and victory through angelic intervention. These accounts are not fairy tales, but testimonies of lived experience. They remind us that the war is not just global or cosmic, but personal. Each soul is a battlefield, and each person must choose where they will stand. Michael's warning today is the same as it was in Scripture. Be vigilant because the battle is real, and you are part of it whether you realize it or not. It is tempting in our modern age to dismiss these stories as superstition or myth. We live in a time when science and reason explain much of the natural world, and it becomes easy to believe that everything can be reduced to biology, psychology, or chance. But even in this age, people continue to experience the unexplainable. Stories of oppression, possession, sudden deliverance, and visions of light continue to surface. Even those with no belief in angels sometimes admit to sensing a presence that pulled them from disaster or comforted them in despair. These are not accidents, they are glimpses of the same warfare that has always surrounded us. Michael's role through history and Scripture is proof that this battle is not hopeless. Every time darkness rises, Michael stands against it. Every time lies threaten to consume, his sword of truth cuts through. Every time fear tries to paralyze, his shield brings courage. His fight has never ceased, and his victories remind us that the power of darkness is temporary, but the power of light is eternal. The lesson from Scripture and history is clear. We are not living in peacetime. The war that began before the foundations of the earth still rages, and we are participants in it. To deny this is to live unprepared, but to accept it is to awaken to the truth that we are not powerless. We are guarded, we are defended, and we are part of a story far greater than ourselves. Michael's warning is a continuation of this truth, an echo of the voices of prophets, apostles, and saints who told us the same thing. Do not be deceived, do not fall asleep, and do not think you are fighting alone. As you reflect on these stories, remember that you are part of the same timeline. The same Michael who defended Daniel, who fought in Revelation, who has stood with countless generations, is the same Michael standing ready to protect you. History is not just a distant past. It is a reminder that what was true then is true now. And the same battles that shape the lives of nations are the same battles influencing your thoughts, your choices, and your future today. This is why understanding the history of spiritual warfare matters. It is not just about knowing what happened, but about seeing that the battle is real, that it is ongoing, and that victory is possible. As we move into the next part, we will explore how these same dark forces reveal themselves in the modern world, not only through culture and society, but in ways far more personal and close to home. And once again, Michael's role will be revealed, not as a distant protector, but as a present guardian who fights for you now. The battle between light and darkness has never stopped, but in every generation it takes on new forms. Today, in our modern age of technology and global connection, demonic influence has woven itself into daily life in ways that are subtle yet deeply destructive. Michael's warning is not about strange myths from the past, but about the very real dangers pressing into our world right now. If you look closely, you can see the fingerprints of these dark forces in nearly every corner of society. One of the clearest manifestations of demonic influence today is in the realm of distraction. Never before in history have people had access to so much information, entertainment, and stimulation. Phones, screens, and endless notifications dominate our attention. But distraction is not harmless. It keeps minds occupied with noise so that souls never find silence. In silence, you might hear the whispers of light. You might sense the presence of Michael. You might realize the truth of your situation. Darkness knows this, and so it keeps you scrolling, watching, consuming, always too busy to reflect. What seems like harmless entertainment often becomes a prison of distraction, preventing you from awakening to what is truly happening around you. Another sign of modern demonic influence is the normalization of immorality. In movies, music, and popular culture, images and ideas that once were seen as dangerous are now celebrated. Violence is glorified, lust is marketed as freedom, and selfishness is presented as empowerment. These messages are not random. They are carefully designed to desensitize the heart. The more you are exposed to darkness, the less threatening it appears. And once fear of evil is gone, the doorway to influence swings wide open. Michael's warning is urgent here. Be careful what you welcome into your heart, for every image, every lyric, every word carries spiritual weight. Addiction has also become one of the most visible weapons of darkness in the modern world. Whether it is substances, pornography, gambling, or even endless scrolling on social media, these addictions create chains that are difficult to break. What begins as pleasure becomes dependency, and what begins as curiosity becomes captivity. Demons thrive in addiction because it steals freedom. It convinces you that you cannot live without the very thing that is destroying you. The truth is, chains are meant to be broken. Michael's sword exists for this very purpose, to cut through what holds you down and to remind you that freedom is always possible. Hatred and division are other manifestations of demonic work in our time. Look at how quickly anger spreads on social media. A single post can turn thousands of people against each other. Nations, communities, and even families are torn apart by arguments fueled by lies and manipulation. This is not just human nature at work, it is a spiritual strategy. Demons know that unity is strength, and so they work tirelessly to divide. Michael's fight has always been to cut through these lies and restore clarity. When you feel tempted to see your neighbor as your enemy, remember that the true enemy is the darkness feeding that hatred. Mental health struggles, though often explained in medical terms, are also spiritual battlegrounds. Depression, anxiety, and despair are very real conditions, but they are also doors where darkness presses hardest. Demons whisper hopelessness into the minds of those who are already vulnerable. They convince people that life has no meaning, that the future holds no promise, and that love has abandoned them. These are not truths. They are weapons. Michael's shield is needed here more than ever. His presence reminds us that even in the darkest moments, there is still light, still purpose, still a way forward. We also see demonic influence in the obsession with power and control. In business, politics, and even personal relationships, the drive for dominance can consume individuals and institutions. Greed blinds the eyes, pride hardens the heart, and soon people are willing to sacrifice integrity, compassion, and even humanity itself for the sake of gaining more. This hunger for power is one of the oldest tactics of darkness, and it continues to destroy lives today. Michael's role has always been to challenge pride, to humble the arrogant, and to defend those crushed beneath the weight of corruption. Even technology itself, while a tool for good, has become a battlefield. Artificial intelligence, digital surveillance, and mass data collection all raise questions of freedom and control. These advances can bless humanity, but they can also enslave it if used for manipulation. Demonic influence is not about the tools themselves, but about the spirit that guides them. A tool in the hands of darkness becomes a chain. A tool in the hands of light becomes a blessing. Michael's warning is to stay alert, to discern the spirit behind the advances of our time, and to resist anything that steals freedom and truth. Perhaps the most dangerous modern manifestation of darkness is spiritual apathy. Many people no longer care about questions of good and evil. They live numb, indifferent, detached. This is exactly what the enemy wants. A person filled with hatred still acknowledges the battle, but a person who does not care has already surrendered. Apathy is victory for darkness because it silences the soul before the fight even begins. Michael's message today cuts through that numbness. He reminds us that the battle is real and that indifference is not safety but surrender. And yet, even in the middle of these manifestations, hope remains. For every chain of addiction, there is a sword of light waiting to cut it. For every lie of hatred, there is a shield of truth ready to defend. For every heart drowned in despair, there is an angel whispering courage. The darkness of our age may look overwhelming, but it is not greater than the light that surrounds us. Michael's presence is proof of this. His warning is not to terrify, but to prepare. His role is not only to show us where the enemy is at work, but to remind us that the enemy's days are numbered. The truth is this: the same forces that once rebelled in heaven now move in modern ways through culture, technology, and society. But the same Michael who cast them down then is the same Michael who resists them now. His sword has not grown dull. His shield has not weakened. His presence has not faded. He stands ready, here today, for those who will open their eyes and call upon his protection. In the next part, we will move from warnings to action. It is not enough to simply see the influence of demons. You must also learn how to resist, how to call upon Michael's help, and how to walk in light. Awareness is only the beginning. The next step is preparation. And when you are prepared, no shadow can stand against you. Now that you understand the warning and recognize the signs of demonic influence, the next question becomes clear. How do you protect yourself? How do you call upon the help of Archangel Michael, the great warrior of heaven, so that his shield covers your life and his sword cuts through the darkness pressing against you? Michael's warning would mean little if he did not also offer his protection. The truth is that you are not left helpless. You are not expected to fight these battles alone. Heaven has already provided the defender you need. The first step in calling upon Michael's protection is awareness. Many people live their entire lives blind to the spiritual battle around them. They dismiss the heaviness they feel, the nightmares that disturb their rest, or the confusion that clouds their minds. They explain away the signs and, in doing so, leave the door wide open for the enemy. Awareness changes everything. The moment you acknowledge that the battle is real is the moment you become ready to invite Michael's presence. Ignorance is darkness's strongest weapon. Awareness is its undoing. Once you are aware, the next step is intention. Michael does not intrude where he is not wanted. He responds to faith, to prayer, and to the call of those who seek light. Intention is a choice, a decision to align yourself with truth rather than lies, with courage rather than fear, with hope rather than despair. This choice creates the opening through which Michael enters. When you choose light, you are also choosing protection, because the armies of heaven are drawn to those who stand in truth. Prayer is the most direct way to call upon Michael's help. Prayer does not need to be complicated or filled with formal words. It can be as simple as saying, "Michael, stand with me. Protect me from the forces of darkness. Cut away the lies and cover me with your shield." These words, spoken with sincerity, carry immense power. Prayer is not about length or ritual. It is about faith. Even a whisper spoken from the heart is enough to summon the warrior of heaven to your side. But prayer is not only about asking, it is also about authority. Too many people pray as though they are begging for scraps, when in truth, they have been given authority as children of light.
Michael responds not only to requests, but to declarations of faith. When you speak with authority, when you declare that you are protected, when you announce that darkness has no claim over you, the very atmosphere begins to shift. Demons cannot stand in the presence of faith declared boldly. Michael's sword cuts strongest when your voice stands firm. Another way to call upon Michael is through symbols of light. Throughout history, people have used sacred texts, prayers, and even physical symbols like crosses, candles, or blessed objects as reminders of heavenly protection. These items are not magical on their own, but they carry meaning, and meaning carries power. When you light a candle in prayer, you are declaring that darkness cannot remain in the presence of light. When you wear a cross or keep a sacred object in your home, you are surrounding yourself with reminders of truth. These small actions open the door wider for Michael's presence.
It is also vital to guard what enters your mind and heart. Michael's protection is strongest when you cooperate with him by refusing to entertain the lies of the enemy. If you constantly feed your spirit with negativity, violence, or despair, you create cracks in your armor. But when you choose to focus on truth, on words of hope, on acts of love, you strengthen the shield around you. Protection is not only about asking Michael to stand with you, it is about choosing to stand with him. Every choice you make either invites light or opens the door to darkness. Calling upon Michael also means resisting fear. Fear is the language of demons, but courage is the language of angels. When you act in courage, even when afraid, you align yourself with Michael's strength. Courage does not mean you feel no fear. It means you do not let fear control you. When you resist fear, when you say, "I will not be silenced, I will not be broken, I will not give in," Michael's shield rises stronger around you. His presence thrives where faith is greater than fear. Sometimes Michael's protection comes through unexpected ways. You may find yourself suddenly crossing paths with the right person at the right time. You may experience a door closing that you thought you wanted, only to later realize it saved you from harm. You may feel a sudden clarity in a moment of confusion, or a peace that makes no sense in the middle of chaos. These are not coincidences. They are signs that Michael is already working on your behalf. To call upon him is to open yourself to these interventions, trusting that even when you cannot see the whole picture, heaven is already arranging your protection. It is also important to remember that Michael does not work alone. He commands legions of angels, each carrying their own roles and responsibilities. When you call upon Michael, you are inviting the full force of heavenly defense into your life. You are not protected by one being, but by an entire host committed to your safety. This is why prayer carries such weight. You are never whispering into the void, you are activating the armies of heaven. Michael's protection is not a one-time act. It is something you can call upon daily, even moment by moment. Each morning, you can invite him to stand with you as you step into the day. Each night, you can ask him to watch over your rest. Each time fear rises, you can declare his presence. Protection is not an occasional blessing. It is a continuous gift for those who seek it. This is why Michael's warning is not meant to paralyze you with fear. He does not call you to dwell endlessly on demons and their tricks. He calls you to recognize them, resist them, and stand under his shield. Protection is available, but you must choose it. The moment you do, the atmosphere begins to change, and the shadows lose their grip. As we continue, we will go deeper into the specific prayers, words, and rituals that invite Michael's presence in powerful ways. These are not empty traditions, but living practices that countless souls have used for centuries to stand firm against the enemy. You will see that you are not powerless, and that even in the darkest night, the light of Michael's protection shines brightest. Archangel Michael's protection is real, but like all spiritual power, it grows stronger when you engage with it intentionally. For centuries, people of faith have turned to prayers, symbols, and sacred rituals to invite his presence into their lives. These practices are not superstition. They are tools of alignment, ways of opening your heart, focusing your spirit, and declaring that you stand under the shield of heaven. Michael does not ignore the cries of those who call upon him, and he responds with power when prayers are spoken with faith and sincerity. The most powerful weapon you can use to call upon Michael is prayer. Prayer is not simply reciting memorized words. It is a conversation of the soul, a declaration of trust, and an act of faith. One of the oldest and most beloved prayers to Michael begins with the words, "Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil." This prayer has been spoken by millions for centuries, and its strength lies not only in the words themselves, but in the faith that echoes through them. When you speak these words, you are joining a chorus of voices across time, all calling on the same defender of light. But prayer does not always have to be formal. Michael listens to the simplest words when they are spoken with a sincere heart. Even saying, "Michael, protect me," carries power when spoken in faith. You do not need to be eloquent or perfect in your words. What matters is honesty. When fear presses in, when darkness seems overwhelming, even a whispered cry for help invites the full strength of heaven to your side. Many testimonies throughout history describe people feeling a sudden peace, a rush of courage, or even physical safety after calling on Michael in a moment of desperation. This is no accident. It is the response of a warrior who never ignores those who cry out for protection. Symbols also play a powerful role in Michael's protection. Throughout history, crosses, sacred texts, blessed objects, and even the simple act of lighting a candle have been used as declarations of faith. These objects themselves do not contain magical power, but they act as reminders of truth, and truth carries spiritual weight. When you place a cross in your home, you are declaring that your space belongs to light. When you light a candle in prayer, you are symbolically inviting light to drive out the darkness. These small acts are outward signs of inward faith, and they strengthen the atmosphere around you. Darkness recoils from such symbols, not because of their shape or material, but because of the faith they represent. Rituals of light are another way to align yourself with Michael's protection. Rituals are not about empty repetition, they are about intention and focus. For some, this means reciting specific prayers at the beginning and end of each day, inviting Michael to guard their steps and their rest. For others, it means fasting, meditating, or dedicating time to silence and reflection, creating space for heavenly voices to be heard. Even the simple act of blessing your home with prayer, walking from room to room declaring protection, can shift the spiritual atmosphere. These actions declare to the unseen world that you are aware, that you are vigilant, and that you stand under the authority of heaven. Music and words of praise are also powerful weapons. Darkness thrives in despair, but it weakens in the presence of joy and gratitude. When you fill your home with words of worship, with songs of light, you are inviting Michael and his legions to dwell with you. It may feel simple, even ordinary, but it carries profound weight. Many who have filled their homes with such words describe feeling the heaviness lift, the nightmares cease, and the sense of oppression dissolve. This is because darkness cannot remain where light is declared. Another ritual connected to Michael is the act of renunciation. To renounce means to reject, to cast out, to say with your own mouth that you refuse the lies and chains of darkness. When you say, "I reject fear, I reject despair, I reject the chains that have held me," you are breaking agreements with the enemy. Demons lose their grip when you refuse to accept their lies. Michael's sword of truth cuts strongest when you speak truth aloud. Renunciation may seem like a simple declaration, but in the spiritual world it is a powerful act of liberation. It is also important to understand the role of community in calling upon Michael's protection. Praying alone carries power, but praying with others multiplies it. When families gather to pray for protection, when groups of friends or entire communities call on Michael together, the strength of their voices rises like a shield. Scripture reminds us that where 2 or 3 are gathered, heaven listens and responds. Michael does not stand with isolated souls only. He surrounds communities that unite in faith. These prayers, symbols, and rituals are not meant to become burdens or complicated obligations. They are meant to remind you of a truth that is already yours, that Michael fights for you, that light is greater than darkness, and that protection is available at every moment. They are tools to awaken your spirit, to keep your eyes open, and to remind the enemy that you know the battle is real and that you are not alone in it. What matters most is consistency. Michael's protection is not a one-time shield to be called upon only in emergencies. It is a daily relationship, a constant alignment. Each morning, you can dedicate your steps to the light. Each evening, you can entrust your rest to his watch. Each time fear rises, you can call on him. Each time lies whisper, you can declare truth. Over time, these practices build a fortress around your spirit. They strengthen your awareness, deepen your courage, and silence the influence of shadows. Michael's warning becomes a source of empowerment when you act on it. He does not reveal the presence of demons to terrify you, but to equip you. His message is simple. Protection is available, but you must choose to embrace it. Every prayer you speak, every symbol you raise, every ritual of light you practice is another declaration that you belong to the side of truth. And with every declaration, the grip of darkness weakens. As we move forward, we will begin to explore real stories of deliverance, testimonies of people who have experienced Michael's intervention in their lives. These stories will reveal that his presence is not abstract, but tangible, and that the same warrior who defended prophets and saints still fights for ordinary people today. They will show you that calling on Michael is not only about belief, but about transformation. His shield does more than protect. It changes lives. Throughout history, countless people have described moments when unseen forces intervened to protect, guide, or deliver them from harm. These stories are not confined to the pages of Scripture or the testimonies of saints. They are found in the lives of ordinary men and women, people who, in their darkest moments, cried out for help and discovered the unmistakable presence of Archangel Michael. These accounts remind us that Michael's role as protector is not abstract. It is tangible, real, and active even today. One story often told comes from a soldier during a brutal war. Surrounded by enemies and certain of his death, he whispered a desperate prayer, "Michael, defend me." At that very moment, a sudden explosion forced him into a trench, narrowly saving him from enemy fire. Later, he described a sensation as though an invisible hand had pushed him down into safety. He believed it was no coincidence, but the intervention of Michael himself. For him, survival was not just chance, it was protection. Another account comes from a sense of heaviness in her home. Her children suffered from constant nightmares, arguments broke out daily, and an unexplainable gloom seemed to hang over their family. One night, in exhaustion, she prayed aloud, "Archangel Michael, clear this house. Protect my children." That very night, the nightmares ceased. The next morning, the atmosphere felt lighter, and peace began to return. She later said it was as though her home had been cleansed, as though Michael had drawn a line no darkness could cross. There are also countless personal testimonies of people rescued from fear and despair. A man deep in addiction described reaching the point of complete hopelessness. In his desperation, he called on Michael, asking only for strength to survive one more day. What followed was a sudden clarity and the courage to seek help. Over time, he broke free from his chains, and he credited that turning point to the prayer he prayed in his darkest night. He said, "I felt like someone was standing between me and the pit, holding back the shadows long enough for me to climb out." Even dreams have carried the mark of Michael's intervention. People have reported visions where a radiant figure in armor appeared to them, driving away terrifying presences. Others have spoken of hearing a voice declare courage into their hearts at moments when fear nearly destroyed them. These encounters, though deeply personal, all carry the same theme. In the moment of greatest need, Michael arrives as a defender. His presence is unmistakable, not always seen with the eyes but always felt in the soul. Such stories remind us that Michael's role is not confined to ancient scripture. He still fights for humanity today. His shield is still raised, his sword still sharp, his authority still unmatched. He is not a figure of the past, but a warrior of the present, guarding those who call on him with faith. His interventions may look different in every life. For some, a physical rescue. For others, an inner peace that arrives in chaos. For still others, the breaking of chains they thought would hold forever. But the result is always the same. Light triumphs, darkness retreats, and the soul finds strength again. And yet, Michael's warning must not be forgotten. These stories do not mean the battle is over. They mean the battle is real. For every moment of deliverance, there are countless moments of attack. Demons continue to whisper lies, spread fear, and sow division. The world is still filled with distraction, corruption, and despair. This is why Michael's voice is urgent. He is not only a protector but also a messenger. He reminds us to stay vigilant, to guard our hearts, and to recognize the signs of darkness before it takes root. The final call of Michael is this: do not ignore the signs. When heaviness weighs on you without reason, recognize it. When confusion clouds your thoughts, resist it. When fear rises suddenly, reject it. These are not coincidences. They are attacks. And every attack is also a reminder that you are important, that your life has meaning, and that heaven itself is fighting for you. You are not a victim in this battle. You are a warrior protected by angels. But you must choose which side you will stand on. Michael calls you to awaken. Do not drift through life as though the spiritual realm does not exist. Do not dismiss the whispers in your soul. Choose light. Call upon him daily. Invite his shield to surround you, his sword to cut through lies, his presence to fill your home. Stand in truth, resist fear, and declare boldly that darkness has no claim over your life. This is not paranoia. It is preparation. And preparation is what keeps the shadows from gaining ground. The stories of deliverance we hear from others are not just testimonies of the past. They are invitations for your own story. The same Michael who defended a soldier, who cleansed a home, who freed an addict, is the same Michael waiting to defend you. You are not forgotten. You are not too small, too broken, or too far gone. The moment you call upon him, he answers. The moment you declare your faith, he stands with you. The moment you resist the lies, his sword strikes. So as this message closes, remember the urgency. Michael's warning is not for tomorrow. It is for today. The signs of demonic influence are all around, and you cannot afford to ignore them. But you also cannot afford to forget the hope. For every shadow there is a light greater still, and that light is standing with you now. Declare it with your mouth, even now. Michael, protect me. Say it with faith. Say it with courage. Say it as though the armies of heaven are listening, because they are. And know that when you speak those words, you are not alone. The warrior of heaven hears you, and his shield is already rising. This is Michael's final call. Be vigilant, be courageous, and do not ignore the signs. For though the battle is fierce, the victory is already written, and light has already won. If this message has spoken to your heart, write in the comments, "Michael, protect me." Let that be your public declaration of faith. And if you want to hear more warnings, more guidance, and more truth about the unseen battle, subscribe now and join this community of light. Together we are stronger, and together we cannot be ignored. Beloved child, open your spirit wide, for I come to you not with whispers but with fire in my voice. This is Archangel Michael, and today my words are heavy. My message is urgent. My heart is burning. I do not speak of strangers. I do not speak of enemies outside your walls. I speak of someone close, someone bound to you by blood or by the ties of family. Heaven says, they smiled in your face, but behind your back, they betrayed you. Betrayal from a stranger can wound, but betrayal from family pierces to the core of the soul. The hands that once embraced you are the very hands that have worked against you. The voice that once blessed you in public has cursed you in private. The smile that seemed warm has concealed envy, anger, jealousy, and deceit. And heaven cannot allow you to walk blind any longer. This message comes to rip off the mask and to prepare your heart for truth. Beloved, you know this already in your spirit. You have felt it though you could not explain it. You noticed words that did not add up, promises that fell flat, actions that contradicted affection. You saw the glimmer in their eye when you succeeded. Was it truly joy, or was it hidden envy? You felt the chill when they embraced you. Was it truly warmth, or was it the coldness of pretense? You brushed it aside, you told yourself, I am imagining it. But the Spirit says, you were not imagining, you were discerning. I see a vision of a feast table. It is long and filled with food. Laughter echoes, smiles flash, cups clink. Yet beneath the table, hidden from the eyes of the gathering, one hand clutches a knife. The betrayer joins in the laughter, but their heart is not with you. They are in the circle, but not in the covenant. They wear the face of family, but they carry the heart of betrayal. This spirit of betrayal is ancient. It is the spirit of Cain, who could not rejoice when his brother Abel was favored. It is the spirit of Joseph's brothers, who plotted even as they smiled, selling their own blood into slavery. It is the spirit of Judas, who kissed the very face of Christ while delivering him to death. Betrayal is never far from the language of family. It disguises itself as closeness, so the wound will cut deeper. Beloved, betrayal in the house is the hardest wound, but it is also the clearest prophecy. For when betrayal rises, it is because destiny is near. Joseph's betrayal led to his palace. Christ's betrayal led to his resurrection. Your betrayal, though painful, will be the bridge into your calling. But you must not ignore the warning. Heaven reveals this not to terrify you, but to prepare you, so that when the mask falls, you will not collapse in shock, but stand strong in truth. Do not allow sentiment to blind you. Do not let the false smile silence your spirit. Heaven has shown you again and again, through unease, through subtle signs, through dreams. Now heaven confirms, yes, it is true. Yes, it is real. Yes, I am exposing it. And when I expose, says the Lord, no lie can stand, no mask can remain, no shadow can hide. Beloved child, guard your heart. Share your secrets carefully. Speak your dreams with wisdom. Do not pour the treasures of your destiny into the hands of one who cannot celebrate them. Their smile may hide the knife, but heaven's voice exposes it. This is mercy. This is protection. This is love. I see another vision. A snake coiled in a corner of a family home, silent, still, waiting. The family sits together, unaware, but the snake waits for the moment of weakness. Yet suddenly a light bursts into the room, and the snake writhes, exposed, unable to strike. That light is this message. It is shining into your house. It is uncovering what has been hidden. It is making plain what you could not see. Do not fear the snake. Fear blindness. For sight is your salvation. Beloved, remember this. Betrayal may wound, but it cannot destroy you. The betrayer thinks they are clever, but heaven is wiser. The betrayer thinks their plot is hidden, but heaven has revealed it. The betrayer thinks they can cut you down, but heaven will raise you higher. You are not at their mercy, they are at heaven's mercy. This is the first sound of the trumpet. Someone in your family has smiled in your face but betrayed you. This is the warning of betrayal. This is the prophecy revealed. And this is the mercy of God. You have been told before the mask falls. Beloved child, betrayal within family is a storm that shakes the very walls of the heart. Strangers may oppose you, and you will brush it off. Enemies may rise against you, and you will prepare for battle. But when family smiles while secretly plotting, the wound cuts deeper than steel. Heaven speaks now to heal that wound before it breaks you, to warn you before the knife strikes, to cover you before the mask falls. Understand this: betrayal rarely begins with open attack. It begins in silence, in secret jealousy, in whispered thoughts. It begins with envy when you are blessed. It begins with resentment when you succeed. It begins with comparison when you shine brighter. Slowly, that envy grows roots, and soon the one who once cheered your victories begins to plot against you. Their words remain kind, their face remains bright, but their heart is shifting. And heaven says, "Do not be fooled by the face. Look at the spirit." I see in the spirit a garden of roses. Beautiful blooms sway in the wind, but hidden among them is a thorn bush, sharp and poisonous. From afar, it all looks the same, roses and thorns alike. But the closer you get, the clearer the danger becomes. Your betrayer is like that thorn. They hide among the roses, but when touched, they pierce, they wound, they draw blood. Heaven is pulling you close so you can see the difference. Beloved, this betrayal has already left marks on you. Think of the times you confided in them, and later your words were twisted. Think of the dreams you shared, and somehow they leaked to others. Think of the comfort they offered, yet you walked away feeling smaller instead of stronger. These are not coincidences. These are traces of betrayal. The Spirit has been showing you for a long time. Today, heaven confirms it openly. They smiled in your face, but betrayed you. Do not let guilt silence you. Betrayal is not your fault. It is not because you trusted too much. It is because they honored too little. Love is never wrong. Betrayal is. Trust is never weakness. Deception is. Do not blame yourself for their corruption. Instead, thank heaven for revealing the truth before the knife could go deeper. Beloved, I must warn you. If you ignore this word, the wound will cut deeper. If you brush it aside, the knife will strike harder. If you defend the mask will wound you. But if you believe, if you prepare, if you guard your heart, the betrayal will not destroy you. Heaven's exposure is protection. I see another vision. Joseph walking with his brothers, their smiles hide their envy. They speak kindly, but their hearts are plotting. Soon they throw him into a pit, selling him into slavery. Yet even there, heaven was with Joseph. Even betrayal was turned into a bridge to destiny. Beloved, do not fear this exposure. Heaven will use it for your good. The palace is waiting beyond the pit. The betrayal will not be hidden much longer. Heaven says the mask is slipping, the truth will break out, the hidden heart will be exposed. When it happens, remember this prophecy. Do not cling to denial. Do not run back into blindness. Stand firm in the light. Beloved child, the warning has been sounded. Someone in your family smiled in your face but betrayed you. This is not rumor. This is not suspicion. This is revelation. Heaven is defending you. Heaven is protecting you. Heaven is saving you. Do not fear betrayal, fear ignoring prophecy. Do not fear exposure, fear blindness. For sight is your weapon, and truth is your shield. Heaven has spoken. The warning is clear. The betrayal is revealed. Now prepare your heart, guard your spirit, and trust the God who exposes in order to protect. Beloved child, betrayal rarely comes dressed in hatred. It rarely announces itself with anger or open attack. No, betrayal is subtle. Betrayal is quiet. Betrayal is wrapped in smiles. And that is what makes it so painful. For a stranger's hatred may bruise, but a family member's false smile pierces like a dagger to the soul. Heaven says, the betrayer in your family wears a mask of joy, but beneath it lies envy. They show affection in public, but in private their words are sharp. They congratulate you with their lips, but in their heart they resent you. Do not be deceived by the smile. The knife is hidden behind it. I see in the spirit a vision of a banquet. Everyone is laughing, their faces glowing with cheer. But one person's laughter is hollow, their smile stretched too wide, their eyes glimmering not with joy, but with malice. As the cups are raised in toast, their hand tightens around the hilt of a hidden dagger. This, beloved, is the image of the betrayer heaven warns you about. They sit at your table, they eat your bread, they drink your cup, and yet they plot your downfall. The smile of betrayal is strategic. It lulls you into safety. It makes you drop your guard. It makes you believe that the one who stands beside you cannot possibly be against you. But the Spirit says, do not judge by smiles. Discern by spirits. Do not be fooled by words. Test the heart. Beloved, you have already sensed the dissonance. You noticed the encouragement that felt shallow. You saw the clapping that came too late. You felt the embrace that chilled instead of warming. You doubted yourself, thinking, it must be in my head. But heaven says no. The smile you saw was not the smile of love. It was the mask of betrayal. The most dangerous enemies are not those who stand far off with weapons raised. The most dangerous are those who stand close with hands extended. Judas did not strike Christ with a spear from a distance. He kissed him. Cain did not strike Abel while glaring with hatred. He spoke to him like a brother and led him into the field. Joseph's brothers did not throw him into the pit while mocking openly. They smiled as they walked with him. Beloved, the smile of betrayal is as old as humanity itself. Do not let that smile confuse you. Not everyone who celebrates with you is for you. Not every hand that pats your back is clean. Not every word that praises you is pure. Betrayal uses smiles as its camouflage. But heaven has pulled off the mask, and today the false smile is revealed. Child of destiny, the knife hidden behind the smile is envy. Envy of your blessing, envy of your favor, envy of your calling, envy of your light. Instead of rejoicing in your victories, they resent them. Instead of thanking God for your success, they secretly wish for your fall. They cannot attack openly, for that would expose them. So they smile. They hide. They play the role of family while their heart plots against you. I see a vision of two faces. One is bright, painted with joy. The other, hidden beneath, is twisted with bitterness. They change masks depending on who is watching. When others see them, the bright face shines. But when they are alone, the bitter face takes over. This, beloved, is the betrayer heaven is exposing. The Spirit says, do not fear the knife, for I will expose the hand that holds it. Do not fear the smile, for I will tear away the mask. Do not fear the betrayal, for I will turn it into blessing. But you must listen, you must guard your heart, you must not ignore what heaven reveals. Beloved child, the smile of betrayal is not only deceitful, it is calculated. It is meant to keep you blind until the right moment. It is meant to make you doubt your own discernment. It is meant to lull you into lowering your guard, so that the knife, when it comes, cuts deeper. That is why heaven speaks now before the strike, before the wound, so that you will not fall unaware. I see in the Spirit a face, radiant with laughter, lips moving with praise. Yet as soon as you turn away, the smile fades, and their eyes narrow with jealousy. They speak words of kindness to you, but to others they twist your name. They present themselves as your supporter, but secretly they are your accuser. Their smile is their disguise, their mask, their covering. But heaven's fire is ripping away their mask. Beloved, betrayal through smiles is the enemy's oldest weapon. He knows that open hatred would alert you, but hidden envy will catch you unprepared. That is why Judas kissed the Savior. That is why Joseph's brothers wept false tears before their father while selling their brother into slavery. That is why Cain walked beside Abel as though nothing was wrong, even while planning his death. The smile is the dagger's sheath. The warmth is the cloak of coldness. Do not despise your discernment. Do not dismiss the unease you feel in their presence. Discernment is heaven's whisper saying, do not be fooled, look deeper, guard your heart. You prayed for clarity, and this is your clarity. You asked for truth, and this is truth unveiled. Someone in your family has smiled in your face but betrayed you. This is not rumor, not suspicion, but revelation. Beloved, I know the pain of hearing this. You want to believe the best. You want to hope the smile is genuine. You want to cling to family bonds, to trust the hands that raised you, the faces that grew beside you. But heaven warns, do not cling to the mask once it falls. Do not defend the betrayer when I reveal them. Do not excuse deception when I uncover it. The smile was never protection. It was deception. I see another vision, a golden cup filled with water. It shines in the light, beautiful and inviting. But inside, the water is poisoned. From the outside, it looks safe. But those who drink will suffer. The betrayer is like that cup. Their smile is golden, their words inviting, their presence comforting. But within, their intentions are poison. Heaven is saving you by exposing this poison before you drink too deeply. Child of destiny, betrayal is painful, but it is also prophetic. For betrayal always comes before elevation. Joseph was betrayed before he ruled. Christ was betrayed before he rose. You are betrayed because you are chosen. You are envied because you are favored. You are targeted because you are destined. The knife may aim to destroy you, but heaven will turn it into the very tool that ushers you into your calling. So do not despair when the mask falls. Do not collapse when the smile disappears. Do not mourn endlessly when the betrayer is revealed. Heaven says, I remove what is false so I can plant what is true. I tear away the mask so you can see clearly. I expose betrayal so you can walk in safety. Beloved, this is your preparation. Heaven is training your eyes, strengthening your spirit, and warning your heart. Take the warning seriously. Guard your secrets. Watch their fruit, not their face. Listen to heaven, not their flattery. For the one who smiled while plotting will soon be revealed. And when it happens, you will know this prophecy was true. This is the message. The smile that hid the knife will not deceive you any longer. Heaven has uncovered it, and heaven has declared it. Someone in your family has smiled in your face but betrayed you. Their mask is falling, and your protection is rising. Beloved child, betrayal may hide for a season, but no mask lasts forever. Smiles may cover secrets, but the Spirit of truth always exposes what lies beneath. The Lord says, I am about to pull away the veil. I am about to shine my light where shadows have danced. I am about to uncover what was hidden so that you will no longer walk blind. This is the moment of exposure. I see in the Spirit a stage with curtains drawn. Behind the curtain, actors whisper and rehearse, believing the audience cannot see them. They adjust their masks, they prepare their lies, they polish their smiles. But suddenly the curtain is torn open, the lights blaze, and their pretense is revealed. This is what heaven is about to do in your life. The curtain is coming down, the truth will stand exposed. Beloved, you have wondered, am I imagining this? Am I wrong to doubt their smile? Heaven answers you now. You were discerning, and now I will confirm your discernment with exposure. God is not content to let you live in suspicion. He will bring evidence. He will uncover the truth in such a way that no one will be able to deny it. Not you, not them, not those who watch. Exposure may come suddenly through words spoken in haste, through actions they could not hide, through secrets slipping out, or it may come slowly, piece by piece, like a puzzle assembling itself until the picture is clear. However it comes, beloved, know this: exposure is not cruelty, it is protection. Heaven exposes not to shame you, but to save you. I see another vision, a house filled with shadows, every corner dark, every surface cloaked. But then a great lamp is lit and the shadows flee. Rats that hid in the darkness scatter. Spiders rush back into cracks. The room is revealed for what it truly is. Beloved, your house is about to be lit. The betrayer who hid in shadows will be revealed. The smile that once deceived will be torn away. The hand that held the knife will be exposed. Do not fear exposure. At first, it may shock you. At first, you may feel betrayed beyond measure. But remember, exposure is mercy. Would you rather live blind or see clearly? Would you rather lie or embrace truth? Heaven says, I expose not to destroy, but to deliver.